It's the Mixed Martial Arts Hour with
The Mixed Martial Arts Hour is back in your life on this Monday, December 5th, 2022. Hello again, everyone. I sure hope you are doing well. It is lovely to be here on a frigid Monday in New York City. It is that time of the year. Lovely to be inside. Commiserations to all the fans of the Japanese football team, unfortunately losing just moments ago to Croatia via penalty kicks. What a time to be alive. And I feel for them. I was enjoying watching them play very much. But alas, them's the breaks in the world of football. As you all know, I am now a football pundit as well, so I know a thing or two about these things. Interesting weekend in the world of mixed martial arts and in the world of combat. You had one championship on Amazon on Friday. A horrendous debut for one Roberto Soldic, his fight ending in a matter of minutes via a brutal nut shot. I mean, you could hear that thing. It was super loud. Sometimes you can't really hear him. It's like, all right, it happened. That one you could hear. Sounded like, I don't know, like an explosion. Really, really loud. Feel for him. Horrible way to start one's career in a new promotion. Hopefully he's okay and can be back soon. Saturday afternoon, we had Tyson Fury against Derek Chisora, which was an uncomfortable fight to watch, to be honest, from the jump. And I know everyone talked about it being a mismatch and a fight that no one wanted to see. And I agreed with all those people. We wanted to see Usyk. We wanted to see Joshua. Chisora walked out. I mean, I noted on Twitter, it looked like he was a kid being sent to the principal's office. It looked like he did not want to be there. And, you know, valiant effort, I suppose. Fight could have been stopped in the third round. He was never in it, took too much damage, uncomfortable to watch. And then afterwards, you see them sharing, you know, a hamburger together. Just like, what was this? Oh, we're so happy that he's giving his friend a payday. Yeah, he also, you know, took way too much damage and is going to feel that for a very long time. Chisora should not be fighting anymore. Anyway, it was quite the scene at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Hopefully we get Usyk, Fury next. We saw the face-off. Let's see if they can deliver. And then Saturday night, a very entertaining card in Orlando. Again, the crowd, amazing. The Orlando crowds have usually been good. The main event, Fight of the Year contender, as we are approaching the end of 2022. Wonderboy Thompson and Kevin Holland engaged in an unbelievable battle. That was an amazing fight. I think way better than most people expected. And in the end, Wonderboy won, turned back the clock. Perhaps some mistakes for Kevin Holland. Unfortunately, he seems to have broken his hand. So a tough night at the office. But Holland has reached that, you know, anytime he fights, he's popular territory. You do have to get by some of these guys in order to take that next step. He did not do so on Saturday. RDA looked great against Bryan Barberena. Matheus Nicolau continued his winning streak in the flyweight division. So there was a lot to like. Fortunately for Tai Tuivasa, he did not fare very well against Sergey Pavlovich. And now we turn our attention to UFC 282. That's this weekend. Also Friday, massive night for Bellator, probably their most anticipated fight of the year, which says a lot. Rafael Stotts against Danny Sabatello in the Bantamweight Grand Prix. I'm looking forward to that. That's this Friday at Mohegan Sun. So we'll talk about all of that and more. There's a massive story that is engulfing the world of MMA, and I think it's one of the biggest stories that has ever been, breaking in this sport since I've been covering it since 2006. And amazingly, the mainstream media hasn't quite, and when I say mainstream, it's not that we're not mainstream, I mean like the non-MMA media hasn't quite jumped on it. But I think this story is going to get bigger. I think the story is going to get worse for the sport and for the parties involved. And we're going to do a deep dive into this story, which I'll talk about in a moment here in the first hour. Before I get to all of that, obviously, as always, we are brought to you by our good friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook. They are the official sports betting partner of the UFC. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today and please use code THEMMAHour when you sign up. If you're a first-time user, it'll help you out. The MMA Hour, DraftKings Sportsbook, the place to be for all your UFC and mixed martial arts fun. All right, what are we doing on today's program? back into the show. We're going to be joined by Matheus Nicolau. We're going to talk to him about his big win on Saturday. Looking good, fighting out his contract, massive finish against Matt Schnell, bet on himself. Does he stick around? One suspects he does. Time to give him his shine. Matheus Nicolau of Brazil will be joining us in the third hour. That's at around 3:25. Prior to that, we'll be joined by Rafael dos Anjos, who had the big win over Bryan Barberena, called out Conor McGregor afterwards. I mean, the timeless wonder, the ageless wonder, Rafael dos Anjos, now has spent more time in the octagon than any fighter in UFC history. 21 wins as well, puts him in, incredible territory, company. The guy is unbelievable. The former lightweight champion just keeps on ticking. So we'll talk to him. We'll also talk to Zhang Weili, the recently new UFC strawweight champion, had the huge win over Carlos Esparza in New York, Madison Square Garden. Been a while since I spoke to Zhang Weili. Looking forward to having her on. That'll be at around 2:25. Prior to that, we'll be joined by Wonderboy Thompson, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, who of course had the massive win over Kevin Holland. And yes, if you were watching on Saturday, you may have noticed that the Parlay Pals are back. Nothing? No commentary?
How about it?
Wow.
Easy dub too.
Easy.
I mean, did you expect anything different?
I'm glad we had that those last 2.5 minutes on the the Lewis Pavlovich fight.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's
Andy.
right. Jeez Louise. Not Lewis, Tuivasa.
Why do I keep wanting to say Lewis, man?
Well, they have a history.
Yeah.
Do you feel as though, we shed a little weight and that's what propelled us to the top?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I would say
I think
so.
we shed a lot of weight.
Oh, wow.
I think we cut that right out, and now we're back on track.
I do have to say, Frank ended up taking the parlay with us. I think that was the only way that he was going to be able to cheer us on if he had a financial
Notable
investment in as well. A big play to $100. We went easy. I mean, just cruise. It was, when RDA sunk in that choke, it was easy money. No congrats, no thank you.
Wow.
Not even a sunglasses emoji.
I was working.
Okay, so
See, Frank, this is where you just go, I was so confident.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
I do remember
trying
a
to help you
time,
here.
though, not too long ago, where somebody was like, hey, if you're doing a parlay that has negative odds, you need to reevaluate.
Oh, you're
wow.
You're sticking with this burn that
Yeah.
that I talked you off the ledge of before the show. That was our great New York Rick that said that. This is a 3-leg parlay, Frank.
So-
This is
so
not a
now
4-leg.
it doesn't-
Three and four are different.
All right.
Yeah, 4 would make the odds much more.
Thanks, though, Frank.
Yeah,
Okay,
even I know that.
It's just something I noticed.
No. Nice try.
And so if anyone's just tuning in and may have missed last week, what happened was Kayla Harrison lost. Frank, massive Kayla Harrison stan, as the kids like to say, put everything that he had on Kayla beating Larissa Pacheco at PFL.
Emotionally and financially.
Emotionally, financially, he was there. GC dropped the ball, should have put his hand on his knee,
Yes,
told him, I'm sorry, man.
Biggest missed opportunity of my
I mean,
life.
we're in the same building. You were right next to the guy. How you missed that, I'll never know. But in any event, as we all know, Kayla lost. And immediately afterwards, in the text thread, Frank himself retired from the Parlay Pals, endeavor. And we all took, we took that to heart. And so we allowed him to retire. And he tried to come crawling back on Monday, but we decided that for as long as the three of us continued to succeed, and Lord knows it's going to be a while, he will not be allowed back in. If we lose, we'll reconsider. But for now, we're going as a trio. And first week as a trio, JSP, Pavlovich, and
RDA.
Tuivasa, and then RDA. We do good things. Now, as GC noted, very mensch-like on Frank's part, dropping in the slip, saying that he was rooting for us.
Yeah.
In so many words, he did get in on the action. How did you feel, though, Frank, as you saw us just, notch one win after the next? Were you having FOMO? Were you feeling like, oh my God?
I was really happy for you guys. Yeah.
That is the most insincere.
So
I was
happy.
really happy for you guys of all time.
He had to put a significant amount of money on that to make it interesting so that he could cheer us on.
Okay.
If
Now-
you guys just keep printing money, then we're good.
Frank just wants to cash it in.
Did you have FOMO?
I mean, a little bit. I like rooting with the fights with you guys, but
Yeah.
it's fine.
Well, you still got to root on the fights with us.
Yeah, I mean, did I though?
I would hope so.
All right. Well,
I do wonder what your pick would have been. I wish you had told us.
yeah. You would like to know
Mark
that.
Diakese?
Wouldn't you? It was a Tracy Cortez.
Well, perfect.
Yeah, then we would have won. It would have been great.
Anyway,
Yeah.
And Frank, this is not personal. I mean, this is us.
Oh, I'm
just,
taking it personally.
Really?
Yeah.
You retired yourself.
Yeah.
What do you want us
Hey,
to
I mean,
do,
look,
dude?
I was in the heat of the emotions. I felt like.
Did you
when
go
I said-
home to your wife and say the guys are leaving me out? This is not cool.
Well, true story. This is actually kind of funny. My brother, who I love him to death, just for whatever reason last week was like, "Hey, what's the name of that podcast that you work on?"
Oh, no.
I told him that, and then he's listening, and he's like, "Ooh, Flaky Frank, I like it." And it's like, so his first episode is
Frankie
listening to-
Flakes. Let's get it right.
Yeah, well, whatever it is. You see, I can't even get that right.
Tough
So
stretch.
that's my family's, exposure to this. It's like, oh, okay, so they just dunk on you all the time.
No.
that's what he took.
come on.
I mean,
so,
you retired.
Yeah, you alley-ooped us, dude.
We live in a world where fighters retire, unretire, and no one takes them at their word. Here on
took
this
a
show,
vote.
you retire. We want to honor said retirement. We feel like maybe you need some time off, and so for now, we're going to, move forward.
Hey, it's totally
Take
fine.
it as a compliment.
I just-
we view you as the Khabib Nurmagomedov of Parlay Pals.
Sure,
I-
yeah.
I also just feel like it's misstep after misstep. Like if you want back, convince us. Like,
Yeah.
come on,
please, you're
come
just
on.
like whining and moping.
Yeah,
about
this
it.
whole-
Yeah, I've been
Oh,
moping around this
Give it-
entire
Been
It's
very
a dead ringer. You
Show
should have
me.
been like, yeah, I was going to go with.
So here's what I propose. If you guys lose, which heaven forbid you do, I don't want any talk. I just want
just want
just
back in.
back on there. Like,
Oh,
we
you
don't
don't want-
acknowledge it. It's
It
just,
shouldn't be like
you
a
want
thing.
auto entry.
just
Yeah.
auto entry. Like you guys
Is there a
lost.
threshold where we get one? Like say we win five in a row, we can
it was
lose one.
explicitly stated until you guys lose. So
Yeah.
I see Ariel's faces now.
I'm starting to. It's
Because you don't have faith in
this.
no. I just feel like the 3. It was like so much less stress, right? Oh, 3 is
easy. It was
Almost
easy.
every week, I would say the gap between a 3 and a 4 parlay is immense. Like having to nail 4 picks is very hard. Now, I never cast aspersions and said I wanted to lose somebody. But
I
frankly,
didn't
You opened the
either.
door. We
I was
walked
pretty
in it.
distraught from the retirement.
Yeah. I felt like it was
Me-
someone
me
jumping
too.
off the ship. Like you were just letting us, you
Gave
were
up
letting
on
us
us.
crash on the 25th anniversary of the Titanic. It felt like you were jumping off and leaving us to just, sit on the.
when
knocking over
Larissa got
women
her
and
hand
children.
raised instead of Caleb, that's how it felt.
Yeah.
25th anniversary.
Of the movie coming out. Yes. I
Oh,
to know
okay.
that. Yeah, not of the actual. I saw an interview with Kate Winslet this morning.
Oh,
She was
nice.
talking about
Go.
it, yeah. 25th anniversary. All right. Well, another victory for us. And of course, we'll talk more about this on the back end. And yes, fully acknowledging that it's weird to go from us talking about, parlays to this next story. But, this is the world that we're living in. And so let us get into this massive story that continues to develop, continues to break. And surely I can say one thing with great certain. I can guarantee one thing. Today is not the end of this story. And tomorrow won't be the end. Next week won't be the end. And I'm talking about the James Krause story. I'm talking about the betting story that has engulfed the UFC. There have been multiple massive updates since we said goodbye on Wednesday. And when we mentioned something about it, when I tweet something about it, I noticed that there's a lot of people saying like, wait a second, what's going on? So I am hoping until another piece of news breaks, drops, develops, this could be something that you could show to someone and tell them, all right, this is what's going on from the beginning-ish to now, till December 5th. And GC has done a great job of putting together a chronological timeline of everything that we can gather as the most pertinent moments dating back to April, I believe, up until now. So this is a story that's been developing for 8 months, at least as far as we know, but there could be a hell of a lot more that will be unearthed in the coming weeks or months. So, in case you don't know by now, James Krause is in a lot of trouble, to put it mildly. And on Friday, the last thing to break regarding this, and then we're going to start at the beginning, is that the UFC announced that if you're training with James Krause, if you're training at his gym, you are no longer allowed to be a part of the UFC. You are no longer allowed to fight in the UFC. James Krause, at least as of now, pending this investigation that's going on, is no longer welcome to corner fighters at UFC events. And in addition to all that, Derek Minner, who we will talk about in a moment, has been released from the UFC. Now, this came out Friday night. UFC loves to do this, by the way. The Friday night news dump. Something stuck in my throat here. New York Rick, as a seasoned PR vet, isn't this a classic move, the Friday night news dump?
Yeah, you bury it on Friday when everybody's checked out and heading toward the weekend, and then hope it kind of dissipates by the time new stuff is happening. And especially in sports, typically a busy weekend. Now UFC, you roll onto the event coverage.
Right.
It's a good time to kind of slide it in if you're trying to bury something.
I even saw a couple of people on my Instagram saying, because I wrote, we're going to talk about this story, and someone was like, that story's old. That story's from last week. Let me tell you something. This is not going away. This is a massive deal. All right. Let's get into it. So James Krause, as you may know, longtime MMA fighter, veteran, well-respected fighter, became a well-respected coach as well. And, has his gym, Glory MMA, out of Kansas City that trains the likes of Jeff Molina and Brandon Moreno recently, Julian Marquez, Derek Minner, Marcelo Rojo. There's about 10 or so fighters from the UFC who are fighting in the UFC or were fighting in the UFC that have come out of that gym. Also in the past, the likes of Megan Anderson and many others. Back in April, as far as we can tell, right, GC, as far as we can tell,
so
go ahead.
as far as we know, going back, like you can see, like this is from the Discord channel, and it says that it started on Friday, April 8th. I went back on Twitter, searching prior to this date. I couldn't find anything tweeting about it. The earliest tweet I can see is mid-April. Someone tweeted about James Krause now has a Discord. He's giving out picks. It looks like he's got about 1,000 members now. He's charging $50 a month.
Pause right there.
Sure.
What is a Discord channel?
So a Discord channel is kind of like it's essentially like a large group chat that people can come, they can join.
You pay to be involved?
You don't have to pay. There are numerous Discords that are free. I mean, it's essentially what the name is. It's a Discord. It's for conversation to talk about specific topics and, have deep discussions. As you can see by the picture as well, it looks like by the time, which it is now gone, if you go to this link to try and join it, I tried several times. It's always invalid. It has been deleted. But it looks like at the time of deletion, it was at almost 5,000 members.
All right. So it's called the 1% Club. And we see here, this is as of Friday, April 8th, 2022. Now, as you all know, gambling has become very popular in North America, around the world. We are sponsored by, obviously, a sportsbook, DraftKings Sportsbook. The UFC is sponsored by them. Every single sports entity is sponsored by some sort of, sports book. And I believe you may know the number off the top of your head. It's 30-something states at this point that have legalized it. Am I right about that?
Yes, it's in that range.
Yeah, New York, New Jersey, obviously Nevada was the the pioneer, if you will, but now it's just spreading everywhere, and it's become just a massive, massive business, a gigantic business. It's changed sports media. It continues to change sports. So everyone is getting involved. And back then, if you're a UFC fighter, there were no real restrictions as to what you could do. If you were a UFC coach, manager, whomever, there were no restrictions as to what you could do. In addition to this Discord channel, James Krause had a podcast called the 1% Club podcast. You see May 31st, episode 1 with Brandon Moreno. You see episode 2 was on June 3rd, just a few days later, breaking down UFC Vegas, the one headlined by Jairzinho Rosenstrike and
Alexander
Volkov. In addition to this, prior to this, James Krause was starting to develop a reputation as a picks master, if you will. He was hosting a podcast for ESPN MMA called Best Bets, right? And once he started this, he had kind of left that. I even asked him about that later on. So here are sort of the early beginnings of him seriously getting into this world. Not to suggest that there wasn't anything going on before, but this felt like a good place to start. All right, so now we move along.
You want to go to the video?
Yes. No, we move on. What's the next one? I'm very interested in the
All right,
betting side of things. Like how often do you partake in this? All right, so now we move along to August 1st. August 1st is when James Krause was on this show, and this clip has been brought up a lot over the last few weeks and days. This was right after Brandon Moreno won the interim title against Kai Kara France. And the main reason why we had him on was to talk about that win. But in perusing his social media and his Instagram in particular, noticed that he was doing, like, I'll be honest, back then I didn't, I don't really pay attention to any of this stuff, but you see on his Instagram, he was having a lot of snazzy videos made of him making picks, talking about picks, breakdowns, and all that stuff. So I asked him about all of this towards the end of the interview, if my memory serves me correct. I was just curious about like his passion and his interest in this world. So this is that conversation. Very interested in the betting side of things. Like, how often do you partake in this?
Oh, I bet every single card, just about every fight.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a Discord, like 2,000 members in it. We crushed it. Last week we destroyed it. I take over people's accounts and play for them. Like I post the losses, myself on some accounts. Like I do pretty well. I make more money gambling on MMA than I do anything else.
Come on, more than even coaching?
Oh God, I don't make shit on coaching.
Really?
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely not. Like, I mean, if you're talking about time, no, like if I go out on a Wednesday,
that's true.
I go on a Wednesday to Sunday. That's you know what I mean? I make 10% of a guy that majority of, I mean, if we're not talking about Brandon Moreno, like most of my guys are entry level guys making 12, 14, 14. I have some guys making in the 20s, but even at that, like you get 10% of 20 grand is $2,000. I'm on the road every weekend, Wednesday to Sunday. You know what I mean? Like it just doesn't. No, to answer your question, no, it's not even close. Not even close.
And just curious, like the Moreno fight, like fights that you're involved in, will you bet on those too?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
sometimes. Yeah.
Did you bet on Brandon?
Of course.
Overall, how'd you do Saturday?
We crushed it, man. Crushed it. I think I went like 15-2. And the two losses, one was a plus 900 underdog, and the other one was a hedge on another play we won.
Damn, look at you. And when you say we, what do you mean by we? The Discord?
The Discord, the group, the group we're in. I post the plays and people,
And do people pay you for this? For the picks?
Yep.
Wow. And that's lucrative.
Yep.
Look at you.
But it does, I mean, they make way more, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like we have a couple different entry level positions. Like we have a $50 a month and I have a $2,000 a month. But they make way more than, they make way more than they pay. That's for sure.
And just if someone wanted to join this, how can they sign up for this? How does that work?
The link is in my bio and all my stuff.
Okay.
I have a link tree on there. It's all in that. Yep.
Look at you. So there you have it. And I remember talking to the guys in the back there. I was like, man, he's like very sort of open about this stuff. And to be fair, I guess to him back then, nothing that he was saying was illegal, but he was just very, very open about it. Is that accurate, GC and Rick? Because I know you take a great interest in this. Nothing that he said there was illegal, correct?
At the time, no.
But alarming.
By the UFC's mandates and their standards, no, it wasn't illegal. But now, when you're looking back on it and you reframe your mind of like, imagine if that was, the coach of an NBA team being like, oh yeah, smashed them. I hammered our line, like for sure. Like I knew we were going to win going into it. It is like very concerning. Like you have to imagine how much insider information he had behind the scenes of being around the sport so much.
There's an important thing to note here. That is, there's the UFC's regulations, right? And then there's regulators of gambling and federal government involvement. That's where this crosses over from just a specific UFC fighter, coach, manager, athlete specific conversation and into legality, like true federal legality or even state legality, because a lot of the regulatory things are state or locality based. So as long as he wasn't betting against his own athletes, I believe that is legal.
Wow. So if it's betting for them, in favor of them, that's okay?
I think it depends on the jurisdiction and the location. And we've also seen this, right? Like there will be athletes who talk about betting on themselves. Floyd Mayweather, notoriously has bet on himself many times. So there are many different jurisdictions and people who have oversight onto this that are involved. So I think the answer is it depends. But as far as what he said, essentially, it was above board, but there's reason for concern.
Very confident in speaking about this. Dare I say a tad smug as well. But maybe he was trying to sell his product, right? Couldn't believe in the moment. Like I'll be honest, I have some regrets in that moment. The one question that I wish I asked, and I was a little bit taken aback, that's why I kind of chuckled. I wish I asked, did you ever bet against your guys, right? Because we know that people have openly talked about betting for, and I'm certain he would have said no. But I wish I asked that question. And all of this, in retrospect, reminds me a lot of the Maguire-Sosa scandal of the late 90s, where in retrospect, everything looks worse, and you wish that I'm assuming people who covered them back there wish that they asked questions once certain rules came into play and once things became crystal clear. Like, of course, how did we miss that? How did we not ask questions about any of this stuff? Here's a coach who's around all these fighters, who's in locker rooms and all this stuff, giving out picks. It's all a little bit weird. It's all a little bit funky. So that's on August 1st. October 17th, the UFC releases this memo to all the fighters, all the managers, anyone's associated with a fighter regarding betting on UFC fights. And there's one very pertinent section in this memo. Athletes are prohibited from placing any wagers directly or through a third party on any UFC match, including placing any wagers on themselves. In most states with legalized sports betting, wagering by an athlete directly or through a third party on any MMA match put on by a promoter with which they are affiliated is illegal and may result in criminal sanctions, which leads one to believe, why was this ever allowed? You know what I mean? Athletes should also be aware that in most states, these same prohibitions apply to some or all of relatives living in the same household, athletes' coach, manager, handlers, trainers, medical professionals and staff, any person with access to non-public info regarding participants in an MMA match, right? Someone who knows something, you run, you bet, bad. An athlete that becomes aware or has knowledge of any wagering in violation of these restrictions must immediately notify UFC of such incident in accordance with the UFC athlete conduct policy. Here's the thing. This is October 17th. We're not really quite sure what led to this coming out. You could say the Krause stuff, and maybe it was something else that he said somewhere else. Our show was August 1st. This is October 17th. But when this came out, it was massive because there were a ton of fighters who, A, make money off of picks, B, are sponsored by all kinds of sports books, and they're like, well, how do we really monitor this, right? Like, they were wondering, like, how could they know? Well, we did have some sort of indication on the same day by the likes of Chris Wade and Chris Weidman. Chris Wade, not a UFC fighter, was once a UFC fighter, Weidman, of course, in the UFC, who replied to my tweet when I put out this memo that was sent to the fighters and managers. Wade said, I wasn't even allowed to sign up for DraftKings. They knew I fought and denied me an account in New York. Can't even use them to pick football or any other sport. Apparently fighting makes me have inside info on every league and sport. Obviously being a bit facetious there, but interesting to note that they will know what you do for a living. Weidman also writing, same with me on DraftKings. And I've heard this from other fighters as well. Now, we can't be naive, and I know this for a fact. There are people who still use third party, right? And what I mean by third party is, you know, like the non-DraftKings, FanDuel, BetMGM, the ones that people were using before MMA and sports betting at large became legalized in so many states. But we thought that this was really interesting to note. Now, on November 5th, this is where things start to get really, really interesting. Our friend Aaron Bronstetter of TSN, fellow Canadian, who's been doing a great, great job covering this story, tweeted this at 6:38 p.m. Eastern time, so the night of a UFC fight at the Apex. Some crazy line movement in the Shailan Nerdinbeki versus Derek Minner fight over the last 90 minutes. Average odds have moved from minus 237 to 362, minus 362 for Shailan. How much action, GC, would you need for something to move that much in such a short amount of time, so close to a fight?
I mean, an insane amount. And for it to be hanging around the entire week at essentially the same number. I mean, I was obviously watching the fights. I'm on Twitter and everything as the fights are going on. And a couple of people alerted me to the crazy line movement. So as it was going here, if we can show these graphs, like as we're going along, as we're getting closer, I mean, if you just look at that graph, it's Nordinbeka is hanging around minus 200 all week. And then it just falls off a cliff leading up to the fight. As you can see the dates, it falls off a cliff. Same thing with Derek Minner. His line at the very end just skyrockets as we're going into it. And then, obviously, lastly, one of the most suspicious one is Nordembeka, the win by KO, TKO, just plummets as the fight is coming. A guy that had 0 UFC finishes prior to this. I mean, this is... I look at Best Fight Odds, FightOdds.io, all these tracking, odds tracker things all the time throughout the entire week, and you never see graphs like this. And it was enough, like, getting the alert of it. A lot of people were incredibly suspicious going in to the fight, entering the bout. I mean, I was watching the fights with Frank, and, like, we were noticing, like, I wonder how this fight is going to go. Like, this is really weird. I think I had Derek Minner by, like, submission or something like that. I had action down on the fight. I was on the wrong side of it, and I was, like, really curious as to what's going to happen here. And then the fight plays out the way that it does. I mean, you can't help but be suspicious of it. I mean, it was... You texted me, and I had rewatched it as well. It was over before it even started. Derek Minner made that walk knowing exactly what was about to happen.
Any truth to the rumor that Frank was on top of the story first?
Yeah, I think there is a little bit. I mean, he can speak to that more.
Frank? You saw something.
I was on top of this before anyone else.
Yep.
There we go.
Well done. Rewatched it recently and throws a kick, winces, throws the same kick with the same leg. And then it's interesting when you watch the fight, the Nordembeki-Minner fight, even the commentary is interesting. Now, not suggesting for a second, please, that they knew anything, but when they're talking about, like, oh, it looks like he's tapping in the midst of the ground and pound, it's clear that he wanted out, right? And so, all right, is there a correlation there? Did they know that Minner was hurt and then told everyone to bet on him losing in the first round? Did he just say, like, let me throw caution to the wind here, and I'm probably going to blow my knee out? Because I do believe on his Instagram afterwards, he's posting pictures of him in a cast and all this stuff. In any event, all that, line movement that suggested that people were betting on a first round finish, right, for Nordembeki, they all knew something. They were all right. They didn't have some crazy premonition. So these are scenes right here that you're seeing of Minner during that fight, after that fight. It's crazy to watch in retrospect. You could still see it, by the way. The fight is up on ESPN Plus. If you are living in the States, you can still see it. It's up there. All right, now we move along to November 6th, and the UFC's betting integrity partner, Don Best Sports, puts out a statement that they are conducting a thorough review following the Minner-Nordembeki bout on November 5th. Quote, like many professional sports organizations, UFC works with an independent betting integrity service to monitor wagering activity on our events. This is from a UFC statement. Our betting integrity partner, Don Best Sports, a leading global supplier of real-time betting data for North American sporting events, will conduct a thorough review of the facts and report its findings. At this time, we have no reason to believe either of the athletes involved in the bout or anyone associated with their teams behaved in an unethical or irresponsible manner, end quote. All right, interesting. Now we move along to November 11th, and prior to UFC 281, Dana White is doing his post-weigh-in scrum, and this is in New York City, of course. Aaron Bronstetter, again of TSN, asks him about this fight and the controversy surrounding it. This is what he said.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things. There's absolutely zero proof that anybody that was involved bet on it. So it's just, there was some, there was some signs out there that something was going on, but there's absolutely no proof that anybody did anything wrong. And hopefully by seeing this again in this investigation, it deters people from doing it, from betting on it. The bottom line is this: you're never going to be able to bet enough money to win. It's not worth the risk to bet on one of these fights. First of all, nobody even took the action on the fights.
That's not
they
true.
just saw that type of action was trying to come in, and
Can we pause for a second?
And it got shut down. But hopefully,
You just said that's not true. That's a crazy statement when the line only moves, and we're going to go back to that, by the way. The line only moves because of the action, right?
Yes, I mean, I just go back to one of the original articles after this came out, ESPN.com, David Purdom. They've done a fantastic job of covering this. And there's a paragraph that I go back to after listening to that Dana White thing. And it says, as sportsbooks grew suspicious of the unusual betting leading up to the fight, they contacted U.S. Integrity, which in turn conducted a thorough analysis of the situation and alerted state gaming regulators and other sportsbook clients to the irregular betting roughly 3 hours before the fight began at 8 p.m. Eastern. The betting didn't stop. According to the analysis, even after the odds moved to significantly less attractive prices, the relentless betting on the worse odds only increased suspicions among some bookmakers and U.S. Integrity. I mean, we're in today's day and age where it's instantaneous, it's online. Your bet is going to get through. It's not like they set limiters on these online books to whatever they're willing to accept. It's going to be instantaneous, and your bet is going to get through in real time. It feels like Dana is pointing to one singular bet is what set everything off, but according to this U.S. Integrity force or whoever's investigating it, they are saying something different.
Very defiant, very dismissive, but yet, there's data to suggest that it wasn't one singular bet and that there was something very, very suspicious. And you look at this, a month later, less than a month later, and you're like, how could you be so sure? And how could you be so dismissive? And how could you be so defiant? That's their MO. Back to the clip.
Money to win, it's not worth the risk to bet on one of these fights. First of all, nobody even took the action on the fights.
Not true.
They just saw that type of action was trying to come in.
Line wouldn't move.
And it got shut down. But hopefully you see how easy that is to detect now, and the risk is not worth the reward.
What do you think happened? Like, why do you think that the line moved so
That
fast?
stuff happens all the
Good
time in
follow-up.
sports. It happens. I don't
Doesn't.
think anything happened. I think it happens all the time.
Does it?
I think it was being made a bigger deal than it actually was.
Really?
That's a fight with two guys that not a lot of people know about. That's why it's kind of, I think,
And
raised.
you know what?
It's two guys that not a lot of people know about. It's a mid-card fight, right? So that's why I think it raised some alarms.
Yeah. But it wasn't a big a deal as people were making it out to be.
I don't think anyone was really making it
all the time in sports.
into.
There's absolutely no proof that anybody did anything wrong, but
They should have been making
you
it
can
into
see
an
now
even
how
bigger
easy
deal.
it is to detect if you start doing that. And the bets don't even have to be placed. All they have to do is somebody trying to place the bet. And nobody's going to take a bet that big.
Pause it for a second. GC, is that true?
Unless.
Which part?
He says the bets don't even have to be placed.
They can be alerted. That is one part that I agree with here on what Dana is saying.
Yeah, but the line wouldn't move, right?
Yeah. Bets were
isn't the
placed
proof
on
in the
this.
pudding?
There's no doubt that bets were placed on this, but what he's saying is that it is pretty easily detectable. Like,
Sure, what he's saying is if someone comes in and starts betting 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, people will be like, whoa, wait a second. But he's saying that we stopped it or they stopped it right before. But then the line doesn't move, right? Isn't that I'm no expert when it comes to this stuff, but isn't that the best way to determine whether or not there was action placed? Line movement.
Action was placed. I mean, it's in this ESPN.com article. They are stating how much action was placed, and the point of moving the line is to try and get more action on the other side of it, to make the other side more attractive so they can even it out. We've discussed it many times on this show. The goal of the sports book is to have even action on each side, and then they win no matter what because of the juice, because of the vig built into it. And in this case, they kept trying to make the price worse and worse and worse, and that's what sparked the suspicions. I do agree with Dana for that it is easily detectable. If bets just come pouring in this suspicious manner, it's going to alert them. It's a sports book. It's similar to a casino. Like if someone is counting cards, someone is going to get alerted. Like it is easily detectable, but action was placed on this, and that's why.
Could they void it? Could they say like there's too much suspicious stuff and we're giving everyone their money back?
They definitely could. I don't think that happened here, though. I never saw any reports of people not getting their money because of this fight.
Okay. I think there's still a couple seconds left here.
You can see now how easy it is to detect if you start doing that. And the bets don't even have to be placed. All they have to do is somebody trying to place the bet. And nobody's going to take a bet that big on an MMA fight. Unless you're at one of the casinos and you're a massive player, right? If you're a massive player, the casino would probably take your action. But other than that, you just walk in off the streets and try to throw 30 grand on some obscure guy on the bottom of the card? Yeah, no.
So is that what happened? Someone just placed a really big bet, it raised flags, and it got shut down, and they stopped taking action on the fight?
Yeah. It's very easy to detect. It's very easy to find out who it was. And it's not like these things are impossible to find out. And that's why I'm saying there's zero evidence, literally zero evidence that anybody did anything wrong. Just people got alerted when people started trying to make some bets or questioned about making a big bet on a certain fight.
Now, at this point, I want to make something very clear. Nothing that I have heard, and I'm certain people will twist this, has said to me, suggested to me, anything of that nature that the UFC was involved in any type of shady activity. Now, this is involving a UFC fight and people who coach fight in the UFC, but I don't want anyone to think that we are incriminating the UFC, blaming the UFC, accusing the UFC, or even Dana White of anything. Nothing that I have heard. Now, I have no idea what is going to come of all of this, but nothing that I've heard right now as it pertains to this specific James Krause story involves anyone who works for the UFC. Does that make sense? Now, I think that this clip is very important to play because, you know, Dana White is the face of the UFC, he's the president of the UFC, and he was so defiant and dismissive of nothing suspicious going on that I think it's a really interesting moment in the chronology. But as far as what I'm hearing right now from everyone on or off the record, no one in the UFC right now, this could change tomorrow, this could change in an hour, right this second, that no one in the UFC is in hot water, in trouble, being looked at, being investigated for any type of involvement in all of this. I hope that is very clear. Now, we move along to November 19th, and we find out from Miles Johns. This is a tweet from Nolan King, who does such a great job of covering MMA. He was fighting on a UFC card at the Apex, saying that in this tweet, it says the UFC suspended James Krause from cornering him. My understanding is it was a Nevada decision because Nevada removed his license. Obviously, the UFC is going to honor that. Bottom line is, Miles Johns, a Krause fighter, had to go in there without his coach because James Krause was told he is not allowed to corner a fighter in Las Vegas. This is back on November the 19th. Also on that day, and this is when things start to get really, really, really interesting, David Purdom of ESPN tweets out at 9:06 p.m. Eastern Time, November 19th, New Jersey Division of Gaming Enforcement notified the state's sports books today that they are prohibited from taking bets on fights that James Krause is involved in, quote, as a coach, trainer, promoter, or fighter. Gigantic. I mean, this is New Jersey, one of the biggest states in America as far as sports betting is concerned. They are saying we are not taking any action on any fight that is associated with James Krause. Gigantic. Absolutely massive. All right, we continue. November 24th. And by the way, guys, if you want to jump in on any of this, please do. Obviously, we will talk on the back end. November 24th, this is also from David Purdom. The 1% Club Discord, the one that we talked about at the beginning of all this, Discord server and YouTube channel run by UFC coach, MMA coach James Krause, deleted November 24th. Okay, so this was a very successful endeavor. He told you about that in the interview. All of a sudden, gone. The YouTube channel, the Instagram, gone. Twitter, last I checked, as of this weekend, still up there, but
Twitter is still there, yeah.
Still there. Discord and YouTube, gone. December 1st, last week, massive news story. This is just a few days ago. The Ontario Alcohol and Gaming Commission require Ontario gaming operators to stop offering and accepting UFC bets. This is an entire province. This isn't saying, like New Jersey did, no James Krause fights. This is all UFC bets. And there was a line in there, to stop offering and accepting wagers on UFC events due to, quote, concerns about non-compliance with AGCO's betting integrity requirements.
I mean, this was probably the craziest thing that happened out of the whole thing up until this point.
Also in that statement, contrary to the registrar's standards, meaning their own, the UFC does not prohibit all insiders from betting on UFC events, which could include an athlete's coach, manager, handlers, athletic trainers, medical professionals, or other persons with access to non-public information. My understanding is the UFC wasn't blindsided by this. They knew this was coming, and there were talks leading up to this point about what Ontario would do. And then on December 1st, Ontario decided that they were going to stop action. That's gigantic. That's the biggest, most influential province in Canada saying, we have questions about these fights.
What's massive about this is the framing of the conversation, mostly to this point, was around individual bad actors, right? We're talking about, there's speculation about people who may have been involved with something that influenced the outcome of a fight. This is a shift to a much larger picture. This is a shift to something much more significant, where now gambling regulators are looking at UFC and UFC fights and saying, we do not trust that fight fixing can be prevented, and for this organization to oversee that fight fixing can be prevented, which is a completely different conversation, right? It goes from individuals to now this is the entirety of a promotion and for all intents and purposes, the majority of a sport.
Right.
And that is massive. That becomes a completely
Massive
different
claims
story.
to be made. Massive claims to, I mean, that's when you start messing with the integrity of the UFC at that point.
Yeah. And by the way, on Friday, you could have bet in Ontario on one championship. On Saturday, you could not have bet on the
MMA,
UFC.
yes. Could not on UFC.
I have to admit that confuses me a little bit, right? Because if I am a coach or somebody else involved in fights that are not UFC related, there's nothing preventing me at this moment from doing that same thing. And this is shining a light on an issue that's an MMA issue, not specifically a UFC issue, in my opinion. Again, you don't need the UFC to act. Like, they can be completely separate from this, and somebody can influence fights in that way. So I'm confused by that. Don't quite understand it. I think, MMA as a whole kind of needs to be examined there, but understand the largest organization who's putting on the most fights and has the most influence. Certainly, they will be the one with the biggest microscope.
Do we know one championship, Bellator, all these other promotions, do we know that what their gambling standards are? Like, had they already had something in place that the UFC put in place on October 17th? Like, if you gamble, you're out.
We had Brendan Loughnane say that PFL told him he couldn't do the same, but I don't think theirs has been as publicized.
Yeah.
And obviously they're not dealing with this like everyone else. I feel like they're only dealing with it once it hits them in the face. And, worth noting, Ontario, one of the last provinces to legalize MMA, and it was such a big deal to get over that hurdle. And there were people, for the longest time, it was Ontario and New York. They were the two that were the dissenters. And for a sport that fought so hard, and for an organization, let's be honest, because the UFC did all that work. They were on the front lines to get the sport legalized all over North America, and in particular, Mark Ratner, who still works for the UFC. For a sport that fought so hard and so long to be legalized, to be legitimate, for something like this, where you can bet on boxing, but you can't bet on the UFC.
And I believe it was 8 months that they had this single game wagering available, and it took 8 months before it was taken off. And you're talking Toronto, you're talking Ottawa, and like, I can't even put a number on it. Like, a significant amount of people were in my mentions and in my DMs being like, can't bet this weekend. Oh man, wish I could take some picks. Like, wish I could ride with you this weekend, but I can't because I'm in Ontario. Can't bet on it.
So then when this happened on Thursday, we were wondering, all right, who's going to follow suit? Well, the next day, December 2nd, Alberta follows suit. And they come out and they are now the second province to halt UFC wagering. This on Friday, early afternoon. The quote here, a spokesperson for Alberta Gaming, Liquor, and Cannabis confirmed to MMA Fighting that the AGLC has stopped offering and accepting wagers on UFC events, a decision that was made on December 1st. TSN was first to report the news. Quote, previously placed UFC wagers on playalberta.ca have been voided and the stake returned to the player. AGLC will continue to monitor standards implemented by UFC before reinstating betting options on Play Alberta. Later that evening, at around 5 p.m. or so, UFC released a statement addressing James Krause and Derek Minner. This was sent out once again to all fighters, all managers, everyone associated with the fighters. And the most important part of the statement was on the second page where, quote, they wrote, on November 18th, Nevada State Athletic Commission informed UFC and Minner's coach James Krause that Krause's license was suspended and would remain so while the NSAC conducted an investigation into the matter. The UFC has since advised Krause and the respective managers working with impacted fighters that effective immediately, fighters who choose to continue to be coached by Krause or who continue to train in his gym will not be permitted to participate in UFC events pending the outcome of the aforementioned government investigations. Further, the UFC has released Derek Minner from the organization. Gigantic. Basically, he's out. He's banned. He's been cut out. And so the UFC, I think, puts out this statement to say, look, the cancer is gone. We are cutting him out. The problem is, has the damage been done? Did he shine a light on an issue within the sport that now, with investigations unfolding, and I'm told on the radar of the FBI, do they start pulling on threads that lead to other things? That's where this gets even more dangerous.
I don't think you even need to pull too hard on the threads, right? I talked before this, I spoke about how it was assumed to be or viewed in the framework of individual actors and then escalated right to the entirety of a promotion and a sport. This statement, in my opinion, tries to reduce it back, right? Tries to reduce it back to individual actors, right? We're naming James Krause, we're naming Darrick Minner, and we're saying these are the parties, and now we are separating ourselves from them. But to your point, now the can of worms has been opened, right? Now the spotlight is on the individual promotion and on the sport at large, and I don't think it's as easy as to say, hey, these people are gone, wash our hands of it, and now we're done.
Can't do it.
There's way too much attention on it, and I think if you read the statements by the regulatory bodies of gambling, they're not concerned. They don't mention James Krause, right? They don't mention Darrick Minner. They don't mention that particular fight, right? They state they have concerns about, can the UFC prevent fight fixing? And that is not addressed in that statement by the UFC, right? They are just saying these individual actors, we are separating from them. It's going to be very important for the UFC over this however long this is playing out to now prove that they can control this and they can oversee their fights without the threat of fight fixing. And until that happens, I don't see regulatory bodies allowing gambling on this.
This is the most serious threat to the future and growth of the UFC in quite some time, if not ever. And dare I say, obviously the health of its competitors paramount, but this is akin to when TRT was, running through the company, and they were trying to, stop the bleeding there, so to speak. And you could say that in terms of, integrity and legitimacy, if people don't believe that what you are doing is on the up and up, there's a huge problem there, especially when it comes to fighting and combat sports, which, there's a wonky decision there. There's the New York Commission changing, there's just so many things that could be problematic. And again, important to note, as you said, they want to know if the UFC can stop this from happening. No one is accusing the UFC right now of saying they fix fights. That would be probably the worst thing that could possibly happen. But could they stop this from happening? And then in retrospect, you start thinking about, everything is so open in the world of MMA. Like multiple fighters are in the locker room, different teams are in the locker room before a fight. They're all at the PI. They're all at the locker room. There's an article written by Mark Ramundi, who has also done a fantastic job of covering this for ESPN. And there's an article written where he spoke to a coach who was in the locker room before a fight and sees that another fighter who's training, warming up in the same locker room, he sees something about the fighter being off. He pulls out his phone. He places a bet against the fighter. Everything is so open, and maybe this will lead to more separation between everyone. Where if I'm at the PI and I see another guy getting rehab on some injury, I see TJ Dillashaw I'm just saying, this is just an example. It didn't happen, but TJ Dillashaw, someone is getting rehab treatment on an injury before a big fight. You might say, "Whoa, something seems off here." Everything is just too. It feels like loosey-goosey, as opposed to if you play for the Philadelphia Eagles, it's all in-house. The Bengals aren't training, they aren't warming up, they aren't getting treatment in the same facility that the Eagles are. And so maybe that's one thing to keep an eye on as far as changes that will come as a result of all of this, because I can assure you, forget about the punishments, forget about the ramifications, forget about the repercussions. Changes are going to come. They have to, in order to stop something like this from becoming widespread. One last slide. As of right now, BC, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, New Brunswick, PEI, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, Quebec, all saying as of right now they are not going to stop MMA betting. And this is once again from Aaron Bronstetter, who, like I said, massive story in Canada, has done a great job of covering this, not just as it pertains to the Canadian angle, but all angles.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think this is huge. These last two commissions continuing to accept bets on UFC fights, because imagine if all of Canada just banned it. It was just, nope, can't bet on the UFC here. I mean, that's the ramifications of not being able to gamble on it because of distrust with the promotion would just be massive, because then you're getting people that can't wager on it. And a lot of people tune into these fights because they have bets placed on them. And then just for the casual fans, and if now you're tuning in without any bets on it, you start to wonder, why can't I bet on this? Is this already fixed? Do people know things? Are judges doing things? The integrity of the UFC comes into huge question. So I think that British Columbia, Quebec, I think these keeping the wagering open is actually a pretty huge story.
For now, yeah. And
yes.
We'll see. As far as we know, as of right now, it's just New Jersey that is saying no James Krause fights. But then we find out on Friday, UFC saying, if you're being coached by this guy, you can't fight here anymore. And this is a lot of fighters. Like I said, the Molinas of the world, the Marquezes of the world, the Brandon Morenos of the world. Some of them have come out in support. And Jason House, who was in this studio not that long ago, represents a lot of those fighters. I asked them if they wanted to put out a statement about any of this. He also represents Krause. No statement, no word as of right now.
And one thing you mentioned, the Bengals, the Eagles, these NFL teams, like these gaming operators, as big as the UFC is in our lives, and it's the forefront, it's not really the main focus for these sports books. I mean, they're getting almost all of their action on the NFL, on the NBA, on the NHL, on these other huge leagues. I would be curious as what the percentage they're getting on UFC fights. I mean, it's not like they're losing the ability for people to bet on the NFL, which would be far and away their biggest income stream.
But
go ahead.
I was just going to say, in those sports, right, how carefully scrutinized are those injury reports? How carefully scrutinized are the line movements and things like that? This is the lack of attention and regulation to this that had existed in MMA previously that is now being shown to be needed, right? If we take it out of the sports world and think about stocks, finances, right? Essentially, that information is insider information, right? That's insider info. That is what the heart of being able to make financial decisions based upon, if I'm in the locker room and I see somebody looks injured, I can now utilize that information if I'm not prevented from doing so, right? If there are not regulations and things in place to prevent me from doing that, and that creates a whole can of worms that we're now seeing open up.
And even if they say, all right, no coaches, no training partners, whatever, how are they going to monitor someone texting a friend?
It's very difficult.
It's super difficult. Now, again, I see a lot of people saying like James Krause ruined it, and maybe he was too, brash about it all. But even up until now, like don't think for a second that he's the only one who's betting on fights associated with his fighters. And we don't know that he ever bet on anyone. We have to be very careful. We don't know if he bet on any of his fighters to lose, right?
We know not at all about fight fixing at this point, right? There is no proof. Nobody has come out with any report or anything like that fight fixing has occurred. But what this is opening up is what we've talked about, that the regulation wasn't there. So the opportunity to do it existed previously. It could have been done. Purely speculatory. We can assume that it has happened, but that's speculation.
Yeah.
But the opportunity was there, that the safeguards were not in place to prevent this from happening. And now they are starting to be implemented, UFC making statements and preventing their fighters and athletes from doing it. But this is just the beginning.
Yeah, and these commissions are raising questions. They say that there's suspicious activity. And I do believe, and don't be an idiot, obviously not rooting for this, but I do believe that this is going to get a lot worse, that there is more to come.
Can I just point out, I think we have to revisit this, that in 2015, November of 2015, there was a fight between Leo Kuntz and Tae Hyun Bang where the line moved majorly toward Kuntz and away from Bang. And then it was reported that before the fight, the UFC notified both of them about the line movement and said, obviously, there's going to be consequences and penalties for any funny business that happens here. Bang, the one who the line moved away from, right, ends up winning the fight, making it a lot more confusing. There was an investigation, and it appears in 2017, it was reported in 2017 that Bang was sentenced to jail time for accepting a bribe and conspiring to fix a fight. So there was somebody who literally went to jail for this. Again, he ended up winning the fight.
And gave back the money, right?
It was reported that he placed half of the money that he received in the bribe on his opponent, at some point changing his mind and winning the fight. Maybe the warning from the UFC was enough to do that. But he reportedly also received death threats from organized crime figures who were involved in betting on that. So this has happened. Like, we have seen a fight be influenced in this capacity. Now, again, he wins the fight, right? So that kind of changes the dynamic of this. Because he wins the fight, because he does not throw it, because he does not lose, it changes what has happened here or the reporting of the events. But this man, a fighter in the UFC, went to jail because he accepted bribes to fix a fight that he ultimately ended up winning. So this has happened, and now the can of worms has been reopened, and more spotlight has been shown on this. I think we have come so far in terms of how we understand gambling that this is what's catching it up to speed, right? Back then, I think the gambling, especially in the MMA world, was not as well known and not as well trafficked. And now...
Also, all these states didn't legalize it as well.
Yeah, well, DraftKings... FanDuel, now you can open your app and gamble on it. So there's a lot more prevalence, and it's in the broadcast and things like that. So, yeah, this is a huge, it's the biggest story that there is in this sport.
So we're going to talk more about this, obviously, not just today, but in the days and weeks and months ahead, even back into the show. But that's basically the timeline. That's where we stand. That's where we sit. It's, like I said at the top, a developing story. It's a story where new layers are coming out each and every day, hour. Here's the final timeline, and let's see what happens. This could be one of the biggest things in the history of the sport, and one of the worst things as well, unfortunately. There's a timeline there. Great job by GC getting all that stuff together. And like I said, back into the show, we'll talk more about it, because these two gentlemen right over here, GC and Rick, know about this very, very well. They know about this world. They understand it. I am a very dumb guy. And by the way, to answer the question that I keep getting all show long in this first hour, where we dove into this very serious topic, to answer the number one question that I keep seeing, especially on the YouTube channel, yes, this is a flannel hoodie. Okay, I just wanted to clear that up once and for all. Now, thank you to my friend Josh, who came up with our new logos. Josh Ariza, he made this. He has a company called Chomp, and he hooked me up. So I just wanted to clear that up, because people keep asking me in this first hour about that question, and I wanted to address it. All right, more to come on that story. Keep it locked. For now, though, let's go to this past weekend, Orlando. What a performance from Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Holy crap, he turned back the clock. It was incredible stuff. He joins us right now via the magic of Zoom. There he is. Wonder, what's going on?
What's up, my friend?
What's happening?
How you doing, brother?
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I mean, a little banged up and bruised up, but I feel phenomenal.
Really?
Because I'm on the show, my friend.
Oh, that is so nice of you. But it's been a while since we had a Monday victory for Wonderboy, right? Like that Monday victory feeling. That has to feel good despite the bumps and bruises, right?
The bumps and bruises are all worth it, man. But yes, it's been a while. But we made it happen, man. We made it happen this past Saturday, got the W. Got a few bumps and cuts and bruises, but nothing I can't heal up from.
How many stitches total?
Oh, I have no idea. I got one over my left eye. I don't know if you see it.
Yeah. See it?
And this is from a headbutt. This is from an old, when I fought Jeff Neal, when we headbutted each other.
Oh, wow.
Over the same eye. And of course, the old hand.
Oh my gosh. Is it broken?
It's broken.
Oh no.
I get an MRI tomorrow. We both, Kevin broke his right hand and I broke my left hand.
And when do you think you broke it?
I think people are telling me they thought I broke it in the first or second round.
Whoa.
Because I hit him with the left hand and I shake my left hand out. But I didn't feel it till after I took the gloves off, to be honest with you. I didn't take as soon as I took the gloves off, I was like, okay, something's not right. I felt this pain before. I looked down at my hand. It started to swell immediately. So I was like, it's got to be broken.
Wow. So in the fight, you didn't feel anything and you were still using it?
I was trying to knock him out with my left hand going into the fourth round. And they said I did it in the first or second. My brother watched me. I hit him with the left hand and he saw me shake my hand out. I don't remember that at all. But of course, in the fight, you don't remember a whole lot because it's all reaction. So I haven't even gone back to watch the fight yet. I'm looking forward to that today. I'm going to get with the coaches and we're going to go back and watch the fight.
In your illustrious career competing in kickboxing, MMA, have you ever been this banged up after a fight? Cuts, bruises, bloody? Like, have you ever felt that sort of, that kind of stuff after a fight?
In kickboxing, no.
Yeah.
But MMA for sure. When I fought, the first fight I had with Tyron Woodley, that was a rough one.
Yeah.
I had some banged up and bruised up. And of course, the Vicente Luque was a pretty rough one too. But that was more with my hands because I broke both my hands, if you remember.
Right.
I broke both my hands in that fight. I was a little bruised up in the legs, but my face was still fine. And then the Jeff Neal fight where I had this cut here where we headbutted each other. But no, this is, like I said, it's all worth it though. Walking through the airport or struggling to walk through the airport with a smile on my face for sure.
Did you expect this kind of fight?
I always expect fights like this. Like, to be honest with you, I never expected any of these fights to be easy. I always prepare myself for, like I said, a 5-minute round war, whoever it is with 3 minute, if it's a 3-round fight or a 5-round fight, I always prepare myself that it's going to be a war. Because if you go out there thinking you're going to go out there and knock the guy out or it's going to be easy, and then it's a war, it can affect you mentally when you're out there, affect you. I've seen people break, mentally and spiritually whenever they're out there. That spirit kind of breaks. But since I'm always prepared for that, man, I'm ready to go.
And is it true that you guys had sort of like an unspoken agreement that, or maybe it was spoken, that you wouldn't take each other down? Is that a real thing?
Well, leading up to the fight, I figured that at some point he was going to try to shoot. But I know he's not a great wrestler. He's more of an anti-wrestler. He uses his jiu-jitsu against the good wrestlers. He uses his darces and guillotines and things like that. But the first round, I ended up falling down. When I think our legs got tied up, I tripped up and fell, and he stood us back up and said, no takedowns today. I'm not going to be shooting today. So, later on in the fight, whenever I started really throw those liver kicks in, started aiming that back leg roundhouse kick towards his right arm, which was the whole game plan going out there, was to try to attack that right arm. Because, that's his bread and butter. He likes to knock guys out with that right arm. So my goal was to put as lot of steam on that right arm as possible. Try to numb it, try to cause some damage to it so that way he won't throw it as hard. And it worked.
He's known to talk a lot. You just mentioned a brief conversation. Did he speak to you a lot in the fight?
Yes. Yeah, we had some pretty cool conversations out there. It pretty much went, I would throw a kick or a punch and he would say that would hurt. And I would be like, oh, I'm sorry. I pretty much said I was sorry the entire time I was out there. Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, man. I hit him in the groin. Well, I thought I'd hit him in the groin. Completely apologized for that. But yeah, man, he was like, he would say little things out there like, I'm not going to take you down or slow down a little bit. He told me to slow down a little bit, which in my mind told me, hey, I should pick it back up. I should pick up the pace. But little things like that.
Are you truly sorry when you say you're sorry?
When I say I'm sorry, I am sorry, but it's funny because I say I'm sorry, I'm just gonna do it again.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's weird. So when I was out there and he would say that hurt, I'm like, oh, my bad, man, I'm sorry. I don't know why. I said that. But normally when I'm saying I'm sorry, I am sorry, man. I am sorry that I'm going to beat you out here today, but it's got to be done.
You mentioned the groin shot, which I thought was a really weird sequence, if I'm being honest. It looked like Dan Miragliotta waved the fight off. It looked like he said the fight was over, and then he was telling him it was a groin, and then he's like, oh, wait a second. Did you think that was, it ended up being a moot point, but if you wave the fight off, I kind of feel like the fight has to end.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. I didn't know if it was a body shot or if it was because I hit him in the liver with a back leg roundhouse kick, and I think he was looking for a time to kind of recover, and that was his opportunity, and I think the ref thought he was actually injured. I thought he thought he was complaining about his rib, which is why he kind of waved his hands the way he did. And Kevin was like, no, it's a groin shot. So I think that was the mishap. Kevin was hitting the groin and the ref thought he said his rib was hurting, but he said it was his groin. But did I hit him in the groin? I don't remember. I didn't go back and watch the fight yet.
It looked a little questionable for me. And to be honest, if he didn't see it, then at this point, we're opening up a can of worms for every guy who gets hit in the body. And it's like, no, it was a groin. Oh, I'll take your word for it, right? Like, it doesn't have to be something that he sees.
Yeah, I think so. So, I saw him wave his arms off, but I thought it was, just a mistake and we were just going to keep on fighting. But yeah, I thought it was over at first.
Could you tell that his hand was broken?
A little bit when I was out there, which is one of the reasons why I kept throwing the back leg roundhouse kick to his body, knowing that he's going to block it with his right arm. So he stopped throwing it. He started throwing more elbows instead of his right hand. And every now and then he would shake it out a little bit. So I was like, kind of put 2 to 2 together. I figured his hand was pretty hurt, which he broke on my skull the first round when he staggered me. So I started aiming that back leg to that right arm a little bit more, which I think had a lot of effect of him kind of not wanting to come out to the 5th round for sure.
How much pressure did you feel going into this fight, Steven, because of all the, getting up there in age, the last couple fights, all that stuff? Did you feel like this was, I don't know, must win is fair. They're all very, very important, but did you feel like you had to do something spectacular? Did you feel like you had to win? Did you feel like it was a must win?
No, I didn't feel any pressure at all. I try to keep that kind of mindset out before going into a fight. I don't like feeling like I have to do anything. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yes, I lost my last 2 fights against good wrestlers. Obviously, didn't take any damage though. It's not like I got beat up. But it was more to. I went out there to prove to myself and the fans that Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's still here. That he's not too old for this game. Everybody else is telling me that I'm too old. You see it out there because I lost my last 2 fights. He must be too old. So I'm like, are you kidding me? No, I feel like I'm 25. I'm ready to go. So I think that's one of the reasons. Can you still got me?
Yeah, I got you. Yep. Oh,
okay.
Now you turn. Okay, now you're good.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
One of the reasons why was because, I was actually more aggressive this fight than I ever was before.
Really?
And I think it was the fact that people thought I was too old. Like I wanted to prove to everybody that I'm still in this game. And, that you ain't got the last with Thompson. I'm still here, baby.
That too old talk, did it bother you?
A little bit. I mean, the last time somebody told me that I was too old, it was after I got knocked out by Anthony Pettis. And of course I come back and beat Vicente Luque, Jeff Neal. But it kind of upset me because I don't feel it. I don't feel it. I feel like I'm still in the game. I feel like I can still, put on a good show for the fans and the UFC. And this is something that I told them, look, give me a striker. We will put on the best fight ever. And we always do. Anytime I fight against a good striker, we get fight of the night. Obviously, there's a lot of things I still got to work on in my wrestling and jiu-jitsu. I'm still getting better with that every day. But it was like the right moment. It was like a perfect opponent. But the reason that this fight was so good was my opponent, a tough Jeff Neal, be able to go 4 rounds, take the shots that he did and keep on standing. It was awesome.
I was so happy that they gave you this fight because I had heard that they were trying to book you versus Shavkat. And it's not like we're trying to do like easy fights for anyone here. But you know what? You've done a lot for the sport. You've done a lot for this company. You've been a model, fighter, contractor, employee, whatever you want to call you guys. It felt like they were trying to kill you off. And I didn't understand why they were doing that. Like they're trying to give you these matchups against these wrestlers. Like what do we try? We want to see Wonderboy in fights like this, which could be a 50-50 fight. It's not saying that this was a fight that was made for you to win, but like we want to see you in this type of fight as you have your last few fights left. Did that annoy you that they were trying to do that?
Man, it did. I mean, when they came to me and told me to ask me to fight Shavkat, I'm like, look, this guy had 10 minutes pretty much of control time against Jeff Neal. I mean, what was it? Who was he? Who did he fight last? I forgot who it was. I think it was Neil Magny. I think it might have been Neil Magny that he fought. He had like 9.5 minutes of control. And he kept him on the ground. And the UFC's telling me this guy's a striker, that he's going to stand there and strike. I'm like, no way. I'm like, you guys saw my last fights, right? That's not what the fans want to see. They pretty much booed the last 2 fights. I mean, they were boring because my opponents, all they did was shoot and just hold me. I don't know any fan that would want to sit there and watch that kind of Stephen Wonderboy Thompson fight. They want to see a good fight. They want to see the stand-up fight. They want to see Stephen Wonderboy Thompson do his thing out there. And we did. We got to do that this Saturday. So I did feel a little bit, which is one of the reasons why it took so long for me to come back. We wanted to find the right opponent. And man, let me tell you, Kevin Holland was a monster. He is a monster. So we made it happen, man. And people are loving it, man. They love the fight. We got fight of the night. People say it was fight of the year.
Yeah.
So excited about it.
And one other narrative that came up leading up to this fight was that the UFC was rewarding Kevin Holland for taking the Khamzat fight on 24 hours notice by giving him you. And that's kind of disrespectful to you as well. Did that narrative bother you?
I didn't know about that, to be honest with you. This is the first time I'm hearing it.
Okay.
But man, I'm telling you, everybody, you never want to take me lightly. Never take me lightly. I'm just saying. So, it's I'm just excited to be able to jump out there and put on a show for the fans, even with the bumps and bruises. It's great.
One thing I want to ask you about the end, his corner, I thought, did a fantastic job. Bob Perez and everyone there of saying, did we lose him? Is he gone? I'm talking to myself.
I'll be right back.
I wanted to ask myself a couple questions.
Do it.
Something was going on there. I think like his phone was dying or something, because I could tell him looking off, and I was wondering if this was going to come back to haunt us. But it is worth knowing, by the way, or noting, I should say, that let me just scooch over. Oh, all right. That Holland's corner did throw in the towel, and that's something that I'd love to see more. There was no reason for that fight to continue, and it's something we've talked about at length that we see often in boxing, but we don't see it, I think, enough in MMA. We've got Wonder Boy back.
Sorry about that. We had like a power surge or something.
Whoa!
Happen in the yeah, it kind of everything went black and came back on. I don't know. It's kind of snowing here, or not snowing, but sleeting here.
Okay.
So we might have had the trees go down. So I'm not sure.
No problem.
What happened?
Nothing will ever top when you did the show from the school bus while a hurricane was going down.
You remember that?
Yes, of course. That was
the tornado.
Yeah. Yes. That was nuts.
In the middle of a tornado, I'm sitting here talking with Ariel Helwani, and this tornado, literally, I could see it. Like, I could literally see this tornado coming. I just had to run inside the school.
Oh,
that was crazy.
That was insane. I wanted to ask you about his corner throwing in the towel, or saying, like, no mas. I wish we would see more of this in fights. Were you surprised that they ultimately did it? Because we often see, like, no, you got to go out there, you got to keep fighting, when it's very clear the fighter should not keep fighting.
Yeah, man, I think it was great. It's a breath of fresh air, to be honest with you, because it's the coaches taking care of the fighter, and that's what it's all about, right? And MMA has this, thing where you got to be tough, you got to be strong. I mean, obviously, you got to be strong to be on the game, but there's a fine line between being strong and being smart, right? So the coaches were definitely smart with it. He didn't have anything else. I mean, Kevin was done. His hand was shot. He was taking a lot of shots especially in that fourth round. Hit him with like 2 or 3 spin hook kicks to the head. I can't believe he was still standing, but I dropped him a few times. It was definitely a smart call on the coach's part, for sure.
How great was it to be out in front of a crowd again?
Amazing. To be able to feel the crowd, to hear the crowd, to see that energy, especially when you step out there, to hear the oohs and ahs. Man, it was unbelievable. I love it.
I was so excited. You said a few days ago Jack Black was going to walk you out, and then he didn't walk you out. What happened?
Oh, man. He was on tour, which is something that I knew. He was on tour. He's still on tour. And it was kind of up and down whether he was going to make it or not. And he hit me up in the DMs on Instagram. I was like, hey, would you want me to walk you out? I said, are you kidding me? I would be amazing. I would be surprised if you just showed up to the fight. Would be amazing. And a few days before the fight, he had messaged me. He's like, I'm not going to be able to make it. I'm sorry, but I will be watching the fight. So he actually went on Instagram Live of him watching the boy fight. It was amazing. So hopefully next time he'll let her walk me out.
So I saw that you commented on one of the videos. Watching him watch you with his facial expressions was hilarious. Like his reaction. I don't know. You now know him. You hung out with him. We're showing a video of you guys hanging out, and I want to ask you about that. But the videos of him watching you and the classic Jack Black face was so much fun to watch. Does he like MMA? Does he know anything about it? Because he was super into it.
I don't know what's.
He was so into it. He's not a violent guy at all, but he is like you see in the movies, right? You see him in the movies, he's like that in real life. He's the sweetest guy you've ever met in your life. He made me and Sweet Tea feel welcome. We went to one of his concerts in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I got to walk out on stage while he sang Wonder Boy. And it was an epic, man. It was a dream come true, and it was just a blast. He is the nicest guy. Him and KG are great. Kyle Gass is part of the band. So it was just so sweet and cool to see him watch me perform, man.
Yes, it was amazing.
It was epic.
He was super invested, super into it, was rooting for you. The kick that he was showing you when you met him backstage, when you were hanging out, I was impressed. He's got moves.
He kicked higher than I did.
Yeah.
I mean, I almost pulled a hamstring trying to kick that high. It was awesome.
Was that your first time meeting him?
Dude. The very first time I've met him. The only I take that back. I met him via FaceTime at International Fight Week. There was a guy there who was doing some footage, some filming, and he also films for Jack Black and Tenacious D. So he called Jack Black up. We did a FaceTime. We made the concert thing happen, and that was the first time I got to meet him in person.
Wow!
But it was like it was like classic Jack Black.
Amazing.
He's 53 years old.
Yeah.
Kyle Gass is 63, and they were jamming, bro. They were jamming the entire time. It was epic.
Is the hope that maybe the next fight or one of your fights before you call it a career, that he walks you out? Are we putting this on ice?
No, it's going to happen.
Okay.
It's going to happen.
Oh my
God. Going to
gosh.
walk me out. Even if he sings or not, even if he just walks out with me, we're going to make that happen.
And UFC was okay with this?
Yeah.
Oh.
They were okay with it. They were like, let's do this, man. They were excited about it.
Oh my gosh, that would be incredible. We're showing pictures of him reacting to you. It was hilarious. The facial expressions were just amazing. The low blow, he's confused. He doesn't know what's going. It was absolutely amazing. So you said tomorrow you'll have your hand checked out. You think surgery?
I'm hoping not. Okay. I hear that Kevin Holland went through surgery today on his hand. I'm hoping that I will have no surgery on my hand and just have to put it in a splint and get some healing time. But I'm wanting to fight again, early next year.
Okay.
2023, baby.
Perfect opponent.
And get back on your show, Ariel Helwani. I love it.
Thank you. Yes. So here you are. You were too busy for me last week, but what did I say?
I'm sorry.
What did I say? What did I say in the text when you couldn't make it?
You said, it's all good, man. We can do it after the fight. When you win.
No, yeah, I said after the win. So, I knew something. One last thing before I let you go. Perfect opponent?
Well, there's a few opponents that are being talked about. Number one, Conor McGregor. People are wanting me to fight Conor. There is the BMF, which I've been trying to get.
Yeah.
BMF versus the BMF. People are wanting to see that, and people want to see the striking class. They want to see a strike. And of course, Pereira. Is it Michelle?
Yeah.
Michelle Pereira?
Unless you mean the champion at 85.
Acrobatic ninja.
Alex Pereira. You mean the 170 Pereira, not the 85 Pereira who just beat Izzy.
170.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're not moving up.
Yeah, definitely will not be facing off against Alex. That dude's like way too big.
Yes. Okay, I love all of those. So hopefully you're not out for too long, and you still got a lot of tread on those tires. You're not done.
Let's go. We're still going, Ariel. We're still going, my friend.
I loved it. I loved everything about it. It was great to see you in that kind of fight. Those are the fights we want Wonder Boy to be in. Those are the fights that you have earned, that you deserve. And I hope that it's those kinds of fights. Win or lose, we just want to see you in that. We don't want to see you, being pinned on the mat. That's not why people love you.
Nobody wants to see that. They want to see the striking class. They want to see the Stephen Thompson, the Wonder Boy karate style, Ariel.
That's right. By the way, is it true you got arrested for skinny dipping?
Yes. I don't know why I even brought that up, but I did. It was years ago. Yeah, man. We went skinny dipping, and they had cameras because somebody had vandalized the pool. I'd never been to that pool before in my life. And I got in trouble, man.
How old were you?
I had to spend a weekend in jail. Oh, man, probably 19. I was 18, 19, maybe something like that. There was girls involved, obviously. I mean, why else would you do that? So, and I got it expunged, though. I got to train the local police department, which was awesome.
You had to spend a weekend for that in jail?
Yeah. Well, what happened was I was supposed to go to court, and, small town, my lawyer knew the judge, and he ended up having kidney stones.
Oh.
So they were going to postpone, but they switched judges on us. So I'm sitting here driving home with my brother, Sweet Tea, and I get pulled over, and there was a warrant out for my arrest. It was a Friday. I didn't get out till Monday.
What? Were you freaking out?
Yeah. Oh, dude, I was freaking out, man. I was like, dude, I want to get toe up. I mean, these guys are gonna go ham on me, man. I mean, look at me, blonde hair, blue eyes, at 18 years old. Come on, Ariel.
Anyone try to mess with you?
It was all cool. Nobody did.
Okay.
Nobody did. Like I said, small town. Everybody kind of knew what was up, and but dude, I'll never go back, bro. I spent a week in there. Never go back.
By the way, had I known that you were in ex-con, I never would have given you the NMF title.
It's okay though. I'm glad you gave it to me before you found out.
That's right. Feel better, my friend. Congratulations on the win. Tremendous stuff. So happy for you. And hopefully we see you back out there in 2023 soon enough.
Thanks, Sarah Hawani. You the man, brother.
You're the man. Thank you so much. Wonderboy Thompson. What a mensch of all mensches. NMF champ for life. Got arrested when he was 19 years old. I feel like if Wonderboy got arrested, then we're all allowed one mulligan in our life, right? Wonderboy Thompson has spent over 48 hours in jail.
That is a crazy amount of time for what he did.
Yeah, seriously, right? What the F? I guess because it was the weekend, they had to do it, but it seems a little unfair. Like, what, come on. He's hanging out with girls. He's 19. He's jumping in a pool. Let the man live. Probably the nicest human being to ever go to jail, I would say. And a very Wonderboy-esque punishment, if you will. Anyway, great stuff from him. Definitely on the short list for Fight of the Year. Interesting choices. And a reminder, January 4th, the highly prestigious MMA Hour Awards will be going down. We all have our tuxes ready. It's going to be a great time. Now, someone who factors into those awards, in my opinion, comeback fighter of the year, female fighter of the year, maybe even Finit. I mean, there's a lot that you can say about Zhang Weili's 2022. She has had an incredible year. She is now the relatively new, it's been a little less than a month since she regained the title. She's the champ at 115. She beat Carla Esparza right here in New York City to get that title back. And it's great to have her back on the program. It's been a while. Hello, Zhang. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Hello, long time no see.
Yeah. Hello, Zhang. It's so nice to see you. And Jason, thank you very much for setting this all up. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Yes, Zhang, it's been a while since we spoke, and I'm very, very happy for you. Have you been avoiding me? Are you mad at me? Because I feel like I have had a hard time getting you on the show.
Yeah.
Long time no see because fight finish so busy every day. Now I'm every day training, so I no see Instagram. Yeah, so sorry.
No problem. No problem. Great English, by the way. Have you been practicing your English?
Yes, because I every day with my coach training speak English. Yes.
Wow. And are you living in America now full time?
No. This week
Thursday.
Thursday go to China.
Okay.
Yes.
And when was the last time you were back home in China?
Wow, 8 months ago.
Wow, 8 months ago. By the way, your English is fantastic. This is a real nice development. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you miss home?
Yes, I miss my home, my family, my friend. Yes, my team.
Wow.
Yes.
By the way, I'm kind of blown away by how good your English is and how well you're. We don't even need Jason here. This is amazing. This is incredible. You could take the day off. Amazing. But are you? So you're going back home, but are you still going to keep training? Like whenever you fight again, will you still keep training in the U.S.? Are you happy training here?
Yes, maybe Thailand, maybe US, because I don't know next fight where. Asian, I maybe I go to Thailand camp. American, I come back US because now I have a good boxing coach, right?
Yes.
他叫多奈尔 English.
Nonito Donaire.
Nonito, yes.
There you go.
I with Donaire together training boxing. So maybe I look my win fight. No have plan. I come US together training boxing because I want more KO, more boxing.
I love it. I saw you posted a picture. We're showing the picture now of you and Nonito Donaire, who's a legend in the world of boxing. You posted on your Instagram. How did you link up with him?
My friend, Tony Diaz, is old friend, best friend. Before 2 years ago, my coach every day watch Donaire fight and training video. Every day watch this punch, very good. You can learn. 2 years ago, my coach say, say Tony Diaz, my friend, say, hey, watch, very good boxing. Tony Diaz say, my friend, my good friend, my bro. Really?
Wow.
Yes, you can together training. Oh my God, crazy. I'm excited every day.
Wow. And how many fights have you been working with him for?
Two. This week is two weeks.
Oh,
Yes.
just 2 weeks. Okay, so it's very new. Okay, wow, that is very exciting.
Yeah.
That is very exciting.
Very new, but my feel is better.
Already, wow. Can I ask you? This time last year, you were coming off the fight against Rose. 2021 wasn't a great year for you. Could you explain going into 2022? How was your confidence? How are you feeling about your career as you were heading into, at least in the short term, a chapter where you weren't champion?
21年的时候你不顺利，但是22年的时候你对自己的信心跟职业生涯你是怎么一个感觉？
I feel my mental, my heart, my body this year is perfect. Last year, my mental, my heart, my body, so, you know, because 就是没有一个ticket. I don't have a clear ticket. Target. Yeah. So every day training, I just what time, how many time we can finish training. Yes, every day. But now my training every day, I'm so happy. Yeah, every day so happy.
After the second Rose fight in New York, did you feel like you were like losing confidence? Were you starting to feel like you didn't have a path back to the title?
你跟罗莎反战之后，你有没有对自信有自信没有那么强，然后是有没有怀疑你能不能拿到冠军
No, never. I believe myself. I believe my team. I believe I can come back. And new again. Yes.
I love it. But I think you have improved a lot since last year. You look a lot stronger, and technically, you're almost like a whole new fighter. Could you explain how this happened? It seems like you're so much stronger. You're so much more aggressive. You were always aggressive, but you have taken a whole new step in your career. How did this happen?
这个技术方面和你身体这个力量方面有很大一个进步，你怎么样做到？
Because every day I training so focused, just so happy. My mental, I'm tell myself, you very strong, you very smart, you very you taking it very good. Your team is very strong. Yes, every day tell myself.
Amazing, and it clearly shows. I also think the haircut has helped you. The power of your haircut. Why did you cut your hair?
Yes, 6G, you know.
6G.
So with my coach, with my team, with my fans, is more communication.
Oh,
yeah. So it's an antenna. So there's going to receive more, advice, coaching advice from all the coaches.
I like it. Initially, why did you cut it? After the Rose fight, I think you cut it, right? Why did you do that?
Yeah, before I think is training is for training is good. Every day I training BJJ. My hair is this, and my hair is 发际线靠后。
Her hairline is like a slowly moving back.
Yes, I don't want it. So I cut.
You cut it, and you like it. You're going to keep it like that. I think it's very cool. I like it.
Thank you. 6G.
Yes, I like it.
5G, 6G.
I like that. And it's clearly working for you. So when you went into MSG in November, were you surprised at how big of a favorite you were? Like the fans really were rooting for you, and they really were booing Carla. Did that surprise you?
Yeah. Yes, I'm excited, because Carla is American. I'm China, because I think more fans like me style. Yes. So I don't know why. Pull Carla. Yeah. I think maybe more fans like me fight style. Yes.
Did it make you feel bad for her?
I don't like dance.
Yes. Did that make you feel bad for her?
你这样对我们对她感觉不太好，你觉得对她遗憾？他是当地人嘛，大家都喜欢他的话。
Yes. 如果要是我 me in China, every people Chinese people put me
Yeah.
I'm happy.
So you understand.
Same.
Vice versa, if she's fighting China and Chinese fan pull her, she'll be devastated. Obviously.
Right. And in the fight itself, you looked amazing. Did you think that the fight would go like that? Like, did you think that you would finish her early in the fight? Were you expecting that?
你是比赛的预测跟你想的很一样。
Yes, same. Maybe KO, maybe submission, maybe TKO. Yes.
Wow. So you were very confident going into the fight.
Yes, I think 3 rounds finish. No more. No 4, no 5.
Could you compare how you felt the second time you won the belt to when you won it for the first time a few years ago against Jessica Andrade? Like the emotions, first time compared to second time.
你心里的心态，第一、二次跟第一次拿到腰带的时候不一样。
So different. First time belt is like dream true. 就是梦想成真是吧 Dream true. Second fight like just prove myself. Yeah. And 超越的，超越的。
She went surpassed her old self.
Yeah.
You know, on the second time she achieved the belt.
Yes.
So the first time you were back home, right? You were in China when you won the title. This time you were in New York, but I'm wondering if the first time you even surprised yourself a little bit. Like, did you think it would be that quick, the way it went down, as opposed to this time you were like, all right, I need to get back what was once mine?
突然第一次的话，你是比较稍微惊喜一点，很快就拿到了冠军。这次的话是跟你计划就跟那次不太一样，感觉是本来就是我的，我就要给它夺回来。
Yes, you know, I don't. Yes, I think belt is with me. You know, I dream. Okay, I come US, take my belt. Take my belt. My belt is another people home. Yes, I go to another home. Take my belt.
Right.
Yeah, 我做梦。
Yeah, it's like a dream. You know, it's like it belongs to someone else. It's hers, and then now she's taking it back.
Yes. Amazing. I saw after the fight you were hanging out with the Blue Man Group. What was that like?
Yeah, very funny. You're very funny, and we together 表演.
Yeah, they put on a performance.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, every people. I like every people happy. You know.
Yeah.
Smell. Yeah, I'm so happy.
They did a performance just for you, like a private show?
他就是给你个人的，不是有其他观众的。
Yeah. Have more people watch.
There's fans.
Yes.
It's not for her. There's fans.
Okay, amazing. You think you could do something like that? Like what they do? Do you think you're that talented?
你感觉你可以做他们那个小男人那些东西吗？
Yes, we can.
You'd like to do? You like to try that? You want to try?
Yeah, I want to try.
Okay.
I want to try. 我很喜欢一些新的东西。
She likes to explore new things.
Yes.
Regardless what it is.
Yes.
I love that. And by the way, speaking of that, I saw a video of you picking up Francis Ngannou. Is this a real video? Did you really pick up Francis Ngannou?
Yeah. Real.
This is real.
Real. Yes. Nagano is not too much heavy. Easy.
Easy?
Yeah, easy. You can try.
He's like 280 pounds, and you picked him up. Oh, we're showing it right now. This is incredible.
Yeah, easy. No too much heavy. Yeah. Yeah. 2 weeks. Maybe 1 week. 是一个星期前还是2个星期前？
And that's 1 week prior to the fight. She was cutting weight too. She wasn't very strong.
Yeah.
And she picked them up.
Yes. Nagano say, no. You fight finish. You can do it. Yeah, you can do it. Now, you maybe injury. You back in injury. No. I can't. Please, I can't.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. Do you think at some point you will fight at 125?
Yeah, maybe. 就是等看 UFC 怎么安排吧。然后
Yeah, maybe see what the UFC says, and then it's up in there.
Yeah, 我也希望就是I hope me fight 125 pound 表现精彩的技术。
Right.
精彩比赛。
Right. She wants to put on a great performance at 125. She doesn't want to just go in just to be at 125.
Do you think right now, if you went up to 125 and fought the champion, that you can be successful?
说你现在如果你升到125的话，你跟冠军打的话，你会不会成功？你觉得
Yeah， 必须的。
？Yeah, it's a must for sure.
Wow. Is
No
this
question.
is this something that interests you?
你有没有往这边去想？
我其实几年前我也想过，我们肯定会早晚会有一场。
Well, she thought about this actually a couple years back. Eventually, they will run into each other in the octagon because the weight division is so close.
Wow.
Yeah， 我其实我没有去想着去必须得把他腰带抢回来，但是我觉得这场比赛一定会是一场特别精彩的比赛。
Right. She doesn't know for sure she'll take the belt away from her, but one thing she can guarantee is going to be a banger. If she and the champ get in the octagon, it'll be a great performance, regardless of the outcome.
因为他是一个非常好的武术家，然后呢，所以我也希望跟高手过招，去学习增长自己的技术。
And also because she's such a great martial artist, she's willing to step in the octagon with her to learn from her, to share the female fighting experience in there because she is one of the best in the world.
My opponent just myself， 就是我的对手永远都是我。
Yes, so her opponent at the end of the day is still herself. It's not the person she's facing, but rather the person she is.
When do you think you will fight again? When do you want to fight again?
I want Asia fight. Yes. Every time I come US, I want Asia. Yes.
There you go.
Yeah. Where in particular? Like, is it possible China? I heard maybe. Well, I know they were in Singapore. You fought there. I heard they're going to South Korea. But where in particular in Asia?
I want China. Maybe next year China is open. UFC can go to China fight. Yes.
Oh wow.
Yes. Maybe 数字赛.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a pay-per-view fight if they do host it in China.
Yeah, Chinese fans too much want to watch pay-per-view fight, big fight.
Yeah.
Too much excited.
And okay, so your preference would be to fight in your home country of China. Who would be your preferred opponent? Who would you like to fight in your first title defense now as champion for a second time?
第一个选手你想是谁？
我觉得都有可能。现在也不是特别清晰，因为现在大家都竞争特别激烈，然后看一看 UFC 怎么安排，然后觉得我跟谁的比赛最好看。
Yeah. Anyone's possible at this point because there's so many complications with all these female fighters all stacked up. It really depends how UFC wants to arrange this, and then make sure whoever it is, it will be a good match. It has to be a good performance for the fans. That's what she really wants.
Do you have a preference?
那你有没有你稍微个人想要的一个？
我觉得谁都可以，因为每个人的技战术都不一样。
Yeah, she doesn't. Anyone, she's willing to take on anyone because every fighter has a different style. So it doesn't matter who it is. She wants to prepare differently.
Yeah.
I know you say anyone, but at some point, would you like to fight Rose again just to get the win over her?
你虽然说谁都可以，你要不要跟罗斯再打一次，然后把你这个新的这个气再？
我觉得我们迟早会打一场，但是应该不是下一场。
They want me to get for sure, maybe not the immediate, the next fight, the title defense, but definitely they will run into each other down the road.
Do you think it would be a mistake for her to fight you in your next fight? Like, do you think that maybe she needs a win to kind of get her confidence back?
感觉那个罗斯是不是应该是再跟别人再打一场，再跟你打的话，他的气势打过来之后再跟你。
Yes, you're smart.
Yes, yes. Were you blown away by her performance against Carlo? Like, did that shock you? Considering how good she looked against you, and then to see that fight, were you surprised by that?
他跟卡那场你有没有吃惊？因为跟那场打完就不是他的风格。
Yes，就是他拿了冠军以后，他会有压力大输，所以我以前也犯过这个问题，所以就。
Well, she experienced the same thing. Once you become the champ, there's a tremendous amount of pressure on you to hold on to the belt dearly, and she felt the same thing before. So she kind of understand what she went through, you know.
Wow.
而且就是他想就是快乐的比赛，快乐的拿冠军是不可能的。
Yeah, and she thinks that Rose want to, you know, keep the belt and then have a pleasant fight, and that's impossible, you know.
Did you feel like the pressure of being champion affected you the first time you were like? Did you feel like it was a weight on your shoulders?
第一次拿冠军的时候有很多的无形的压力，我感觉有没有
Yeah.
So this time around as champion, how are you not going to let that affect you?
这是你第二次又是冠军，你这种压力怎么
I don't have pressure. No. I think pressure is self-giving self. You know. I just 超越，我又忘了超越自己。
She wants to surpass herself, go beyond the old version of Weili.
Yeah. 而且金腰带它只是一个就是证明你努力的一个很好的一个物品。
Yeah, and the belt itself is just something that evident for her to show that she has keep on improving. That's the way she looks at it now.
Okay.
对。
Wait, would she say something or no? Did I miss it?
因为没有永远的冠军。对，但是我就是这个每天我上来这个就是训练的时候，看很多名人堂的人，但是没有他每个人都是曾经是冠军，但是没有永远，所以我们只是冲着这个去。
Yeah, obviously you can't be the champ forever, regardless who you are. And she trains at PA every day when she come up. There's a picture of Hall of Fame fighters, great fighters, you know, historical figures for the MMA game. And these people, they are not champions forever. So she understands that. So one day, if whatever happens right now, she can just focus on, you know, moving forward.
And I'm curious if they did go to China and they said, you know, I've talked to some Brazilian fighters, some other fighters from other countries. They say, oh, I don't like to fight people from my own country. If they wanted to do you versus Yan Xiaonan, would you be okay with that, or would you rather not fight another Chinese fighter?
有很多就是巴西选手不喜欢跟自己巴西选手打，对啊，那华人会不会有这种想法
？Same.
You'd rather not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing, because we are all people from the same nation.
How do you think the country would feel, the fans in China would feel about that if it was, you know, Zhang Weili versus Yan Xiaonan in China? Do you think that the public in China, the fans in China, would feel uncomfortable about this?
你感觉中国就是粉丝会不会感觉在中国两个中国人打中国人会不会感觉有点不是对这场比赛就没有期待，不太舒服？你感觉中国的选手会不会这么感觉？
因为大家because everyday Chinese people like me and Xiaonan don't like me and Xiaonan is a fight, you know. 就是很多人喜欢他，也很喜欢我。对他们呢，就很不希望有的时候我们去打得特别狠啊，这样流血啊，对。
Yeah, because both her and Yang, they share a lot of common fans because the fans of China are obviously supporting them both. So in this case, the fan base don't want to see either one of them hurt or lose the fight. So they might not know who to root for during the match.
他们心里会很难过。
Yeah, so regardless of the outcome, the fans will feel bad.
Yeah. And in a perfect world, when would you like to fight again?
如果是全都是一切都是 OK 的话，你觉得什么时候下场打？希望。
Summer, I think summer.
Summer, okay. Next month, we're going to do our awards for 2022, and I haven't decided yet, but I feel like you are going to be the female fighter of the year. Do you agree with that? Do you think that you are the best female fighter of 2022?
下个月的话，他们就开始颁奖了。对，亚美尼亚，他说他感觉你可能是今年最佳的女子选手，你感觉你有应该是你这个。
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
She agrees. It sounds like you agree. I think you could be female fighter, most improved, comeback fighter. I think you could be all these things.
他可能这3项都会拿到。最佳归回奖，然后最佳进步奖，最佳女子奖。
我太荣幸了。
Well, that'd be such an honor.
Yes, I think it's true. You've had an incredible year, and very impressive the way you came back after last year to look as good as you've looked and to have the performances that you've had. So I want to congratulate you on an amazing 2022. Congratulations on winning the belt again. And don't be a stranger. It was very hard to track you down. I had to go to Eddie Cha, to Jason, to you. So we'd love to have you back on the show in a few months to talk about your next fight.
Okay. Next time you can message me. I can check my.
No problem. No problem.
Check my
Absolutely.
Sorry.
No problem. It's great to have you on. You've had an incredible year, so I just wanted to talk to you about it. And safe travels back home to China, and I hope you enjoy your time with your family.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I'm so happy today with you talk.
Oh, me too.
Yes.
It's amazing. Thank you so much. And Jason, thank you very much to you as well. Thank you for the time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Talk to you later. There she is, the reigning defending UFC strawweight champion, the one and only Zhang Weili. That was great. Her English has come so far. The last time I spoke to her, she did not hear, you could tell. She understands what I'm saying and is able to have a perfectly fine conversation. And so think about the next time she fights. I mean, she's come a long way. Huge for her. Well done, Zhang Weili. Has improved in the fighting department and the English department. And again, not to suggest that she wouldn't be as below. I mean, I think fans love her. She's got a great style. I would say as far as favorites to watch, I would put her in my top 10. The fight against Joanna was incredible back in June. Obviously, the Esparza performance was incredible. The first fight against Joanna, the greatest female fight of all time. Had a great run as champion. The Andrade fight. The 2 Rose fights were great. Obviously didn't go her way. Since she's become a contender, very, very rare to see her in a lackluster fight. Anything close to lackluster. So that was impressive. I was not expecting that. And what a year. And I would say right now, shortlist for Female Fighter of the Year, right? What do you think, GC?
Yeah, she's likely going to get my vote. The English also was, all of us back here were like, wow.
Shocked.
Wildly improved that.
Yeah, couldn't even speak. So right now, you've got Nunes, got the belt back, but only fought once.
You've got Zhang over Nunes.
Yeah, you've got Shevchenko, who had the very close fight against Taylor Santos. Hard. Pena lost. Rose lost. Carla beat Rose, but then lost. Can't give it to her. She lost to the person that we're talking about here.
Larissa Pacheco,
yeah. More active, but was the level of competition the same?
I'm still probably giving it to Zhang.
One win over Kayla, does it equal the retiring Joanna and winning the UFC title?
In vicious fashion.
Yeah.
That spinning back fist.
Then you get into the Marina Rodriguez, Amanda Lemos category. Pretty much a 2-horse race, right?
Yeah. You're just going to have to tune in January 4th to find out.
Wow, what a plug. What a freaking plug. All right, we'll see. Now, I booked RDA on the show, and then after he said yes, totally understandable, said, oh, by the way, this is during the Brazil-South Korea match. So he said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come on at halftime, which I said was great. Halftime report brought to you by Rafael dos Anjos. What is it? Most time in the octagon, and he's now in the 21 win category, right?
21 wins, over 8 hours spent in the octagon.
Jesus Christ, Latter-day Saints. That is insane. Now, he told me he'll jump on at halftime. Brazil, South Korea, I have obviously been busy. Have we reached halftime?
We have reached halftime, and it is a blowout. So I'm hoping that he's gonna have some time here.
Who's winning?
Brazil is winning 4-0.
You're kidding.
Half. Yeah.
What?
Yep.
I was hoping my guys from oh my gosh, I was hoping my South Korea friends were gonna step up here.
Neymar with a penalty.
Oh, Neymar played?
Yeah, Richarlison's got one as well. It's smooth sailing.
All right. So hopefully, and when did halftime start?
A couple minutes ago.
All right, so I think he's going to jump
efforting.
on. Yeah, no problem. I'm not worried. He was supposed to come on at 3, so he's going to be in a great mood. And then we've got Matheus Nicolau on. to give us the post-game report.
Yeah, what a way to end the show with the Brazilians after a huge win.
Wow.
Quarterfinal.
Yeah, some people said we were crazy, but South Korea a little overmatched. You see
Croatia too. Not the easiest matchup, but I feel like it's still favorable.
Well, what you're seeing now, GC, you have to understand is, you have a lot of Cinderella teams that make it to the round of 16. But then, once we get to the round of 16, the cream rises to the top.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, March Madness with the NCAA tournament. You get the Cinderellas, and then around the Elite Eight, the true contenders start shining.
So, like, you have a situation where it's like, all right, Poland, great run, but you met France and, Australia.
England.
Yeah,
yes.
Great run. Poland played in the morning.
France.
No, France. And then Senegal and England, yes. Australia, Argentina, USA, Netherlands.
Wow.
Well, I was just...
Deep dig.
No,
Deep dig there.
No, I was sad.
What was Canada doing?
I was sad. Oh, wow.
I already hopped on the jet.
Yeah. Oh, maybe they stuck around. I was sad.
The 5 minutes we had from minute 76 to minute 81 when we made it 2-1 and it looked like we were going to get some attacking chances to tie it up.
Yeah.
That was great. So I was actually at a bar on Saturday morning watching it, and, the crowd was electric. And I went to the restroom around the 81st minute, and I could hear the entire crowd react to
really
getting scored on. Yeah, it was a pretty big bummer. Everyone was just like, oh. And then I walked out. Energy was gone. It's 3-1. It's pretty much over. Netherlands with the ball movement. I mean, they play some beautiful football, as they say.
Oh, yeah.
The passes. The first goal that they scored was like, it wasn't the craziest goal of the World Cup, but it had to have been one of the prettiest. Just the ball movement and then the finish. Made it out of the group. That's all I wanted.
I mean, you win that game. Who do you play? Who is that? Oh, Argentina, right?
Yeah. I mean, that
would have been quite the scene, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Against Messi.
We get to retire Messi from the World Cup.
Oh, my gosh. That would have been something.
Would have been fantastic.
Feels like you guys are in place to make a nice run in 2026.
Yeah. We're a young team, the youngest team we've ever put out there.
Second youngest in the tourney.
Yeah, I mean, a few people that I feel like aren't really, hip to USA Soccer were like really disappointed, and I was like, listen, at the end of the day, like, we're the underdogs here. Netherlands, they're the better team.
Did you give them the old, you don't understand VAR, you don't understand offside?
Yeah. Do you even know what this means? Like,
no.
What are you watching?
No one knows what it means. I have to say, I miss the ESPN coverage.
Really, you really don't like Fox that much?
No, it's not that I don't like
broadcasters themselves or the production value.
Don't like the. There's something.
I think the production value is tremendous.
You think so?
Graphic packages, everything is.
Man, ESPN's coverage was great for the South Africa one, and then
I felt like they pushed like the custom song, much harder on ESPN, and it became stuck in my head.
This one's stuck. Whatever it is.
I feel like that's like their little jingle.
Do you remember they had the great thing? I think it was in Rio. Wait, which one was it? Was it the Brazil one or was it the South Africa one? Where I'm pretty sure it was in Rio. Where at night, like they would go off to a side and they would have their shirts undone, and it was like in a little cafe. You know that whole thing? Bob
like
Lee's.
A relaxed feel, yeah.
Yes. And I think Fox is trying to recreate that, but I don't know. It doesn't feel the same. I don't love Derek Ray is tremendous. And then the other guy is tremendous too.
Dark is fantastic.
Ian Dark is tremendous. Derek Ray is tremendous. I like JP Delacamera and Kobe Jones. They're a good tandem. The ones who do the American games, I don't love. I don't.
Whoever called that France game yesterday, the Mbappe, it was either his first or second goal. Like the call was phenomenal. He just held out Mbappe as he screamed. It was
also shout out to 19-year-old Jude Bellingham, who is just
Dortmund's very own.
Yeah, and apparently a fan of the sport. Hangs out with Leon Edwards. I believe he's a member of
on the Bird.
Knows World Order. Yeah. Just tremendous. I mean, the naked eye wouldn't truly appreciate what he does in the midfield, but the way he attacks,
naked eye wouldn't get it,
especially in the final third. I mean, it's amazing
it had to
watch.
Be him, right?
It
had to be him.
Do you know what I'm talking about when they do that?
Yes.
It had to be him. It just had
certainly
to be.
Now.
Yes.
Certainly England is through.
Yes. Doesn't it drive? They don't do that in America's sports where they.
I love it. The beauty of it, like the equalizer.
Yes. But I always feel like they call off the match way too early in soccer, right? Like they'll do it in the 81st minute. I'm like, well, they could come back.
Yeah.
You know, like you'll never.
Shirley now is like they get the call.
Yes. Shirley, he has
Shirley
put them through. Oh, it just had to be him. A brilliant strike by Lionel Messi. All right.
I don't know much about soccer, but our next guest RDA does, and
is he at like a watch party or something?
No, he's chilling in his hotel, but he's ready to go.
Is he? All right, here we go. Without further ado, let's say hello to the man who will be bringing us the halftime report. Also won on Saturday, the great Rafael dos Anjos, the proud Brazilian who made history on Saturday with the big win at the Amway Center. Do we have him? Oh, there he is. Hey, RDA. Sorry for bothering you. But you're in a good mood. 4-0. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah, man. Brazil's killing it.
I haven't been watching. Has it just been a total beatdown? I mean, 4-0 is 4-0, as they say. That's incredible. I wasn't expecting that. Were you?
Yeah, I wasn't, but they play really well, and looks like the team is they connecting really good, man. I'm enjoying the game.
Neymar looked good. He came back.
Yeah, he got back his first game back. Yeah, but I think, if I was a coach, I would take him out.
At this point.
I would, saving him for the next one.
Have you been watching everything? I know you've been training for your fight, but do you watch all the matches or just Brazil?
Yeah, all the matches. I love World Cup. I love watch the games and all the teams. It's a big show. I love it.
You think they win it all?
I think, yeah, man. Watching the game and see how they're playing, they have a big chance of winning.
Who do you think is their biggest threat?
Biggest threat, Netherlands.
Really?
There's a history, Brazil and Netherlands.
Not France.
Every time, not France as well.
There's a history, 1998.
France make me suffer a lot.
Yes.
I think Netherlands and France, yeah, well reminded.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, big weekend for you. Congratulations. Parabéns on the big weekend. By the way, was that your first time back in Orlando since the Cerrone fight?
My first time back 7 years ago, man. December 2015.
Crazy. When you went into the arena, the Amway Center, did the old memories come back from when you were champion? I remember that on Fox, you beat him in like a little over a minute. Did those memories come back?
Right away, man. We stopped in the very same entrance for the arena.
Wow.
And it was like a flashback to me, I remember stopping on this very same entrance. And the walk-in was great, man. It was a great night.
Incredible. And were you expecting to be that, he had looked good in his last few fights. Were you expecting to be that dominant against him?
Yeah, I was, he's big guy.
Yeah.
Strong. And he was way stronger than I thought. But, the game was, feel him stand up a little bit and right away try to take down. But, I wasn't planning to spend a lot of energy trying to take him down. If I couldn't, I would make more like a stand-up fight. But I'm happy I got the takedown and I got, I drained his energy a little bit on the first. He's very strong. I got him on the katagatame, but I was against the fence. I couldn't get the finish. It was pretty tight, but I just couldn't position my hip well. But I said, man, on the second round, I'll get him down and I'm gonna get it done.
Why ultimately did you decide to go back to 170?
Ariel, I had my title run. I'm 38 years old. The cut is pretty hard for me. I decided to do it back because, I moved to Brazil, started training with Dad there. And then I met a new doctor, Dr. Maria, and she's been helping. The same doctor as Jose Aldo that helped him to drop to 135. And it was, I wasn't a good path. But, I lost a fight. It makes me, when I lost to Fiziev, I say, I think I had my title run, and I still like to train him. I still, can be competitive with anybody. But I'm not gonna put my body through that cut again. And I dropped back to 55 to be a champion. But like on this point of my career, a lot is a big step back. And I said, well, I want to continue competing, and I go back to 170 and make it a fun run.
Did you consider retiring after the Fiziev fight?
No,
not
at all. Not at all. I can't retire right now. I have a 4 years old at home.
How many more years do you think you have left in you?
I would say, Ariel, maybe good 2-3 more years.
Okay.
I would say. Yeah. I feel pretty good. I have any bad injuries. And every time I stop training, I want to get back to the gym right away. So I still have the willing, the will. And then I'll compete for maybe 2-3 more years.
On Saturday, you broke the record most amount of time in the octagon, over 8 hours. Does this blow you away? Like, are you able to wrap your head? You've been in the octagon now more than any fighter in the history of the UFC. That's incredible.
Yeah, that's good, man. And also, I think for the past 10 years, my level of competition has been really high.
Oh, my God.
It's not about being there and who I've been there with. I've been there with the best fighters in the world in two-weight division. And I never pick easy fights, and that's who I am. So that's hard work paying off.
To me, Hall of Fame, if there's MMA Hall of Fame, UFC Hall of Fame, you should be in there right away because of your wins, but also the guys you fought, the young guys, the old guys, the new, like, no one wants to fight Fiziev, you fight Fiziev. No one wants to fight Makhachev, you want to fight Makhachev. Like, you never said no, and it's, I think it's actually not talked about enough that you did this throughout your career and that you're still thriving all these years later. And now, over 21 wins in that category of the 21 and up. I mean, it's amazing what you've done. If someone would have told you all of this at the beginning, that you would spend all this time, that you would last this long, that you would have this kind of success, would you have believed them, or have you exceeded your own expectations?
Of course, that would exceed my own expectation. You talk about Fiziev. So we fought in March. No, not March. We're supposed to fight in February. That was one of the reasons that I went back to 170, Ariel, because I was scheduled to fight Fiziev, and he pulls out due to COVID. Okay, I fought Moicano. 4 months later, they booked that fight again because nobody on the top 5 want to fight me. This little top 5 club, they just want to fight between themselves, and I don't like it. I fought everybody, and they booked Fiziev again, and I say, man, I'm tired of it. These little top 5 guys that just want to fight between them, and I say, I'm out of it. You can't remove him from the rankings. I'm at 170 now.
Now, do you think that's just a 155 problem? You don't think you have the same issue at 170? Because I feel like you could say the same about the 170 guys, no?
Yeah. I think it's overall. All the divisions, these rankings, it's good for some part, but it's bad for, like for me, I just want to be active. I had a terrible 2021. I couldn't fight. I couldn't compete, dealing with some injuries. Couldn't work during 16 months. It was a huge layoff for me. But yeah, man, this year, three fights. I'm happy with 2022.
And so then, and you really tied it all together perfectly. And you're not really known to be this guy who's loud on the microphone. You said when you won in this building last time, you were supposed to get Conor next. So this time, let's go. Let's finish what we started. And of course, you guys have been going back and forth for a while. How confident are you that this time it actually happens?
If I'm looking, when I'm looking to the, to putting myself in his shoes, for the possibility, who is gonna fight? Gonna fight Poirier again for the 4th time? He's gonna fight Michael Chandler. That will be not even on his division, the division that he wants to fight. Looks like he's juicing up. He's not gonna fight at 155 anymore. He's gonna fight at 170. and also without respect to Michael Chandler, he's been put on great fight, but he's been losing a lot, and we'll see, man. I think between we will have a history. We're supposed to fight 2 or 3 times already, and let's go, man. Let's bring the bad blood again. It'll be a fun fight.
Do you truly believe he's taking PEDs right now?
Why would he remove himself from the USADA pool? He looked jacked. He looked big, and if he wouldn't, why he would remove himself from the USADA pool? That's weird.
Who's laughing back there? Who's laughing at my question?
Oh, that's my friend.
Oh, hello. How are you?
That's
I didn't know that there was someone else back there. I was like, what? What's going on? So would you have issues fighting someone who you say you believe he's on PEDs? Would you have issues fighting someone who's on PEDs?
I'll fight him now, Ariel. If you say, okay, come to Las Vegas, flying out here, that's the guy that everything that he's for, I'm against. Like all his values are against my values. And let me put it this way: if we are on high school, that's the type of guy that we're gonna fight in the school. That's for sure. I don't like him, and I won this fight.
People are saying that he's on PEDs. He's never actually come out and said it, but he did kind of say recently, like, hey, regarding going out of the USADA pool, like I have to do what I need to do to get back to 100% with my leg. Do you understand that line of thinking, or do you think that that's, kind of BS?
That's total BS. I broke my jaw, man, and 2 pieces. I went through a lot. All the fighters, Anderson Silva, Chris Weidman, and actually that injury, it looks bad. It looks bad. I'm not a doctor, but I know what I'm talking about. That injury looks bad, but it's not worse than a ACL injury. You recover from that way quicker than an ACL injury, because that's bone to bone. When that thing heals, you put a plate, you're 100%. You just gotta do some therapy, but ACL injury is way worse than that. So that's not an excuse.
Because that's ligaments and all that stuff, and that takes longer to heal.
Definitely.
Wow. Okay. Since you've said this, I know you were there on Saturday and all that. Like, do you think the UFC is interested in this fight? Do you get the sense? What are you feeling?
I believe. I got that sense, and I think that the fight supposed to happen 7 years ago. Like I said, man, on that card, Usman was fighting against
Leon
on the prelims. Francis Ngannou was doing the debut. So I'm still here winning fights, finishing people, and I deserve that fight, man, for everything I've done for the company, and I think it would sell a lot.
That's one of the best cards that no one talks about. Valentina was way down. Also, Nate Diaz fought Michael Johnson on that card. Like, that's one of the all-time great cards, and it was for free on Fox. It's crazy how much time has gone on, and like you said, you're still on top. And by the way, he said February I need to go back into the pool and all this stuff. That means like that it could be a while if he fights again. Do you want to wait for him, or are you, like you say, you want to be active? So what are you going to do? Because we're staring at 6+ months.
Yeah, we'll see, man. I got 3 fights this year.
Yeah.
If UFC tell me, okay, you're gonna fight Conor next, I'll wait 6 months.
Okay.
We'll see what happens. We'll see, man. That's a lot of going on. We'll see what happens next. But if UFC tell me that the fight has possibility to happen, I would wait 6 months. Why not?
Okay. I think the game is starting again, right? So I don't want to keep you from watching your. Did it start second half?
Yeah, it's 5-7 minutes already.
Oh, shit. My bad. Sorry. It was hard to get in touch. I'm sorry. I promised you that you'd go back. Enjoy. Thank you for coming on, RDA. Always a pleasure, my friend. And congratulations on the win.
Thank you, Ariel. Sorry, my battery's finishing.
No problem.
Okay, Ariel. So much, brother.
All right, take care. There he is, Rafael dos Anjos. I told him I'd be back. Maybe someone could have given me the heads up there. I mean, I didn't want to get the guy mad at me there. But
it was a riveting interview.
It was riveting. does bring up an interesting point about the leg vis-a-vis an ACL, right? Vis-a-vis ligament, vis-a-vis bone.
Vis-a-vis for sure.
Yeah.
We're gonna call BS on that one.
Oh yeah? Tell me.
I mean, snapping your leg in two
is big.
Not only like he's talking about physical recovery time, sure, but like mentally, we've seen that be a very difficult hurdle to overcome. I don't know if I can.
It's fair.
Come along on that train. Like, oh yeah, you snapped your leg in two. Easy recovery.
I know nothing about it. Can't speak on it.
Chances, New York Rick, of this fight happening?
0.
Really?
I mean, he said he dismissed Michael Chandler like he's not a better option, but I mean, he's obviously a better option. Like Michael Chandler just puts on the most exciting fights in MMA right now. Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler makes a whole lot of sense. The reality of the situation, as it always is Conor McGregor's picking this when he comes back, and he will grant somebody the notorious red panty night, and that will be it. Like that's it.
You're very locked in here. You've got your ear to the streets. Has Conor responded to this at all?
To this? To RDA?
Not to this interview, but to the call out on Saturday.
No, he's going back and forth with
Dustin. Yeah, what's going on there? Dustin Poirier, by the way, just as an aside, is in the hospital right now. I was actually texting with him this morning because I saw his Instagram post. Like he's battling a pretty serious staph infection. He told me the antibiotics aren't really working at the moment. And he's been there for over a day, which is pretty scary. I think it started on his left foot, left or right, obviously. I think it's his left. Anyway, he's in the hospital, and then I saw something pop up with them going back and forth, but I didn't see what happened.
Go to MMA Fighting's.
All right, this is what you're going to give me?
No, I'm telling the fans.
Oh, okay. Can you give me a recap?
There's some shots about Dustin came back with a zinger about Royd House.
Wait, but who started it?
Conor actually wished Dustin a speedy recovery, but
he did
in a flippant way. He said, "Heal up soon, scruffy knickers."
What?
And then Dustin said, "You done filming Royd House and ready to get slapped around again?"
Oh my!
And
God.
then it escalated from there. And go to MMA Fighting social.
Oh, I see it.
If you want to see the rest.
Wait a second, a bit of gimmick infringement here. And oh my, I mean, I feel like that's mine.
I don't know. I don't think that's fair. I don't.
Oh my, that's me.
You own that? No. Are you suggesting that we can't find that utterance on the internet, but prior to you?
I feel like I've really owned it.
I would.
Guilherme, put it in the poll. Or Guillermo. Is it Guillermo or Guilherme? We have a Guillermo. I think it's Guillermo. Put it on the poll. Who adopted Oh My and who made it famous in the world of MMA? Heal up, scruffy knickers. You done filming Royd House and ready to get slapped around again? That's from Dustin. Yeah, I'm in Amsterdam, Jack. Oh, why?
I mean, I'm trying to direct people to go check it out, and you're just give it away for free.
Yeah, I mean, it's tweets. You guys didn't break this. It's freaking tweets that you put on a picture.
You're talking about, I mean, the same way you're trying to take credit for popularizing Oh My.
Oh, that's 100% accurate. What are you talking about?
Internet colloquialism.
No,
that you invented.
Who else has done Oh My?
Nobody. Nobody ever. You are the one. You are the single.
By the way, what if someone's on a run right now
and they want to hear it?
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, you're making me go to
your phone." Better get out. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm in Amsterdam. Jack like Van Damme. You weren't hurt, pal.
We're just hurt, pal.
Oh, wait. You weren't just hurt, pal. Anyway, you were scared, hurt. Don't forget it. When? When was he hurt?
He's saying in their fight, like.
Oh, in the fight against him. Okay, got it. I'm coming back to put you in a box full of it. I'm sending you off this earth, permanent. Stay waiting for Roadhouse as well, pal. You and the missus will love it. Oof.
Yeah.
I also see some breaking news here. Thank you for the heads up. Thank you. Robbie Lawler out of UFC 282. That's not good. Takes a hit. MMA Fighting confirmed with officials that an undisclosed injury has forced Robbie Lawler out of his welterweight bout with Santiago Ponzinibbio. What a bummer. That was a great fight. Ponzinibbio, the pride of Argentina. It was supposed to take place on the main card, so what gets bumped? Short notice opponent is being sought out to keep Ponzinibbio on the card.
Rosenstrike Dawkins?
Oh, first I thought you were going to say Rosenstrike against Ponzinibbio.
Yeah, if they can fill that in with something interesting, obviously you could potentially keep that on the card. But yeah, there's I don't feel like this card had a huge main event option, but there's plenty of options that you could bump up to a main card from this.
Yeah,
from this card.
We were supposed to get Bo Nickel on this one.
Could have done that.
Yeah,
Nickel and
supposed to
Pickett,
get Yuri Prochazka on this one as well.
Yeah,
but there's good fights here. I think though
it's a solid card, but
card.
It feels like it's missing that.
It is.
It was looking like an unbelievable card for a little bit.
Right. I mean, unless we forget Jones and Ngannou were, or first it was Jones and Ngannou, then it was Jones Miocic.
Teased for this.
At least what they were trying to do to end the year with a bang. Yeah, I'm looking now. Till Drickus, probably the upset of the week is that fight is still on.
Oh, come on.
Mitchell Topuria. Yeah, probably. Well, you know what? No, I disagree. They rarely, if ever, put the prelim headliner. They rarely bump it up because they've already promoted it. There's commercials or stuff like that. They'll usually take a lower fight on the card and move it up in that spot. My guess is going to be, not that it really matters, to be honest. Maybe Curtis Buckley.
I was going to say Buckley and Curtis is
maybe even
Billy Q in there.
Maybe even Billy Q. Yeah. Maybe Edmund.
I don't know.
None of these are bad, right?
They
I'd
love
take these on the
heavyweights.
main card.
Rosenstrike Dawkins.
Yeah, but I just said that's the prelim headliner.
Sorry.
Isn't that the prelim headliner? I think it is.
It looks that way, yeah.
Yeah.
Raul Rosas?
Well, that was the other one.
18-year-old?
Yeah, they love him. 18 years old.
18, and he's, I mean, talk about a jump from fighting in the Apex on Contender Series to a sold out T-Mobile Arena.
Confirmed sold out?
Pay-per-view. I cannot confirm that, but I'm just going to assume. Sorry. Sorry, I should have known that was going to trigger you.
Yes. 6-0. Raul Rojas. I could see them bumping him up, but maybe that would be, I mean, what's the difference at that point? 7th fight on the card, 4th fight on the card. What's the difference?
No, it's good. Build the equity early.
Sure. Or they find a short notice guy for Santiago.
Exactly.
RDA?
Bryan Barberena is on Twitter.
Come on.
Asking for it.
No way. See,
Seriously.
This is why we come to you.
Wow. Bryan
Barberena wants that.
That's savage.
I don't know about that.
I mean, that'd be a sick fight if it happened.
He didn't really get beat up, right?
Yeah, it'd be a fun fight.
It was more the ground stuff.
I feel like he stood up from that and was like, damn, that was disappointing.
Yeah.
He literally says, his latest tweet, not his latest tweet, but one of the later tweets, took no damage on Saturday, let me step in for Lawler. I know this is a fight Ponzinibbio wants too.
Yeah, and so he beat Lawler.
That'd be crazy, but I'm down.
That's a Saturday. Which card are you guys more looking forward to? And by the way, we're going to be joined by Matheus Nicolau in a bit. Had a big win this weekend, 6th in a row, this time over Matt Schnell. Which card are you most looking forward to? Bellator or UFC?
282.
Yeah? Even featuring one Rafael dos Anjos and Danny Sabatel?
Yep, I'm looking forward to that fight.
Have we officially
talking about what card I'm more excited for?
Yes.
UFC 282.
Have we officially put to bed any member of the team attending said event this Saturday?
I can only speak for myself.
Yes.
GC has gotten phantom texts from the fake New York Rick. Wow. Whoever
texts were never received. It was on this very bench right here. Discussions. You know, I vaguely remember us getting off the air one time. He's like, "We got to make it happen. We got to be there. We got to be at the Sun, Mohegan.
Oh yeah,
we got to make it happen." No, I will not be there. I RSVP'd to the birthday.
Oh, you're going to the birthday?
Yep, locked in. RSVP'd it.
And Rick is out.
I'm out.
Wow. You blew it.
Conflict of interest.
Bellator blew it.
Conflict of interest? No. Conflict of schedule. Not a conflict.
I'm looking forward to that fight. But yes,
it's going to be a great fight. But you're talking about full cards? Come on.
There's stuff to like on that Bellator card, no doubt. It's strong.
I mean, it's really just the one, right?
No. What do you mean?
Patchy mix Magomedov should be pretty good.
All right.
Flyweight title rematch.
It's the other side of the Bantamweight Grand Prix.
Carmouche and Velasquez.
Right.
Cody Law's on it.
Yeah, Cody Law needs to bounce back in a big way.
Cody Law, yeah.
Pat Downey, some of the, the usual.
Our boy Kyle Crutchmer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, what are the odds for that one? I need to take
minus like 275.
Take that to the bank.
It's already up on DraftKings if you want to do it in the parlay now.
What do you mean it's already up? The fight's in 5 days.
Yeah.
No, but sometimes
DraftKings is slow with Bellator.
Yeah. I wonder why. So that is so crazy. If you live in Ontario and Alberta, you can bet on Bellator and you can't bet on UFC this weekend.
Yeah.
I have concerns about that, about the thought process there, the logic there, if I'm being honest.
It is like something, as long as I've been betting on fights, it's always been concerning to me on how much these lines move. That doesn't happen in any other sport.
What do you mean?
Like these lines on some of these, like let's take a look for this week. I mean, you knew it was going to happen with Patty. Everybody loves him. Patty opened for like a brief second at plus money, immediately dropped to minus 185. Now he's all the way down at minus 257. Like, if you get 1 point of movement on a spread in football, it's like, well, that's a big move there.
Right.
Like, these lines just move like crazy.
My only, not push, not counter to that, but potential explanation, to play devil's advocate, because I'm not sure if this is the case. There's just longer history, right? Like, the lines for NBA, NFL, MLB, all those others are so dialed in because of the wealth of knowledge, experience,
I agree.
Money on the line. MMA is still, again, to the point that we made at the very top, talking about the situation with James Krause and now the UFC. The regulations weren't there. Like, the regulators weren't saying to the UFC, you need to have these things in place, otherwise we won't take action on your fights. It was kind of flying under the radar. So to that point, I think the lines are not as mature and not as locked in, and there's still a lot of value and opportunity to be had on them by sharp bettors. But maybe after this, there might not be. Maybe the lines will be a little more tough. So we'll see.
Wait, so let me ask you, why do you have issues with Bellator being available but not UFC?
Because what is preventing a bad actor to do what is being investigated now in a Bellator fight? Like, why is this specific?
Yeah, no, I get it.
UFC?
So you think it should just...
That makes no sense to me. It should be MMA, not UFC. UFC is not the sport. There are other MMA promotions that operate.
But right now it's a specific thing that happened under the umbrella of a UFC event.
100%. But again, as we kind of outlined at the very top, the UFC is not proven to have any involvement in this. So it is not a UFC specific thing. And the investigation is into bad actors that are not people who work for the UFC. They are independent contractors, you know, in the however you feel the right classification is for them. There is nothing preventing somebody from doing what was done in those fights in a Bellator fight. That is not...
No, I agree.
There is nothing UFC specific about that.
I actually was shocked. I was shocked that one was available. I was shocked that...
Absolutely.
And you know, I will mention, I originally tweeted MMA and you were like, I think it's just UFC. And I was like, what? How could that be?
Yeah.
Because originally I was told by someone who lives in Ontario that there was no MMA at all, like one, whatever. But then come one on Friday, one championship, it was back to being, it was there. Not back to being, it was available to gamble on. This is someone who lived in Ontario. To me, that is crazy. I agree with you.
And to be clear, we want to say again, as we did with UFC, this is not to say that there is anything untoward happening in Bellator. This is to say that if we are...
But while the whole thing is being investigated...
While things are being investigated, MMA should be the property that is being controlled or needs proof, not specifically the UFC, in my opinion. Now, the regulators may have a specific reason why they are zeroing in on the UFC. Obviously, the subject in question is UFC fights, but MMA as a whole, in my opinion, should be under the microscope.
I agree. At least until this is resolved, and that might be a while, and that could be, you know, a really bad thing for everyone involved. But, and I'm not, by the way, I'm not saying that every state, every province should now take, you know, I don't know. The one thing I would love to know is ultimately, why is it an issue in Ontario and Alberta and not an issue in...
I mean, this is that's an even bigger can of worms in terms of the fact that betting is localized, right? Like even state to state in the United States, Chicago versus New York versus Florida, like it's all different, and that is its own difficulty. They can make the determinations themselves. As we saw, New Jersey proactively made a move related to gambling when it relates to James Krause fights. Other territories have not. So there's all kinds of differences there that make it even more of a messy, complicated matter.
Yeah, and I guess you could also say the same about the states that legalize it and don't, right? Why is it okay? Well, it was okay in New Jersey forever and not in New York, and you can, just drive over the
messy.
Yeah, or through the tunnel, and there you are. All right, more on that to come. For now, though, let's say hello to our last guest of the day. Massive win for him on Saturday in Orlando, knocking out Matt Schnell. Remember, Matt Schnell asked for this fight back in July after his big win on Long Island. He said he wanted Matheus Nicolau. Seemed like a fun fight to put together. He got Matheus Nicolau, and unfortunately for Matt Schnell, and fortunately for one Matheus Nicolau, big win for him. He said afterwards, bet on himself, fought out his deal. Now winner of 6 straight. Interesting backstory. Let's say hello to Matheus Nicolau, the pride of Brazil, for the first time. And I have to say, I'm sorry, my friend. I booked you during the Brazil game. I'm so sorry. Are you mad at me?
Yeah, a little bit because I missed the game, but it's all good. That was for a good reason.
What do you mean you missed the game?
Here, yeah.
It's the second half. You had the whole. Why'd you miss the game?
Yeah, because I'm in a friend's house and we don't have cable TV here, only internet. We could find a place to watch. We try some bad links but at least I could see what was going on, and Brazil won, so it's all good.
Yes, last I checked, it was 4-0. Did it remain 4-0?
Yeah. I think it's something like that.
Okay, amazing. And
it's already
finished.
Won,
yeah, all good.
And he got some make goals. It's good.
Amazing. You're a big fan of football, right? I know you played as a kid, but do you watch the World Cup? Do you follow it even though you're training for your fight?
Yes, always, man. I cannot miss the World Cup. Is one of the things that I like more to watch. World Cup and Olympics. I wanted to be a soccer player when I was a kid before I met jiu-jitsu, so it's still in my heart.
And why did you stop playing soccer?
Because I fell in love for jiu-jitsu. I was doing it since I was really, really young. I was traveling for competition as a football since I was around 8. And then I met jiu-jitsu. I really like it. I was kind of tired of the competition in soccer and stuff like that, and really fall in love for jiu-jitsu. And then I just followed my heart, make the decision.
How good were you? Do you think you could have made it far in football? Could you have been the next Ronaldo, Neymar, Ronaldinho? How good were you?
I was good. I studied for free because of soccer for a few years. I play Atlético Mineiro, which is my heart team in the city I came from. I used to play good, but I don't know if God will give me so much of talent because I know I'm going to be a world champion in MMA, so I don't know if I would be a Ronaldo in soccer,
Okay, fair enough. I like that. And by the way, you think Brazil is going to win it all?
Yeah, man, I'm really confident. I think the team is playing well. Everybody's playing happy. They are really united. I think Brazil have a big chance of being a World Cup champion.
And biggest threat in your opinion?
I thought that one of them was Germany, and they just got kicked out. So I think Argentina, because our history is a tough game. It's always difficult when you go against Argentina. And Spain is good as well.
Not France, huh? I think France might be up there.
Yeah, France, of course. Yeah, I was forgetting Mbappé and everybody. They're pretty really good. Yeah, maybe France. And they was the last World Cup champion.
That's right. Okay, so you had a big weekend as well. Massive win for you. And I'm wondering, you said afterwards that you fought out your deal. Why did you decide to do that?
It was not my side decision. UFC. I think they think that was the best decision for them thinking about businesses. And I just fought, I had one more fight in my contract. They gave me this fight against Matt Schnell, which I thank for the opportunity because I liked that fight. I liked the way Schnell challenged me. He was respectful. He just wanted the fight, and I really liked that. He was not that trash talking bullshit guy, and he was a guy I was seeing that having been fighting with the toughest guys in the division for years, and I saw the fight as a good opportunity. I knew that my game would do good against him, so I just went to the fight and took all the situation as an opportunity.
Did you feel a lot of pressure that you had to win or had to look very good in order to get them to offer you a new contract?
Yes, of course, it was something that was in the middle of all the situation. But I was really, really focused on only thinking about the fight and what I need to do, the weapons I need to use. But of course, man, because the last time I was out of the UFC, I was coming from a 3-win fighting streak. It was my 4th fight. And now again, it was the same situations. And some things happen all around the way. That was funny. Like, it was again my 4th fight coming from 3 wins. And the judge was the same judge that judged my loss for Dustin Ortiz. And
Wow.
I just knew that in the locker room. When I saw him, I say, it's Peterson. I was like, damn, man, again. But at the same time, one more opportunity to change my mind and, to develop. And there's nothing to do. I made a really, really good job, really, really, really good work until there. And I will get this victory. So everything was kind of challenging me, for that situation. But I really took everything as an opportunity to grow. And I think just was good.
And I think you mean the referee, right? Keith Peterson? Same guy, yeah.
Peterson.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was the same guy. So, yeah, not the judge, the referee,
Right.
sorry. But it was one more thing, like one more challenge thing that make the situation kind of the same. 4 fight, the same referee, and he only judged only referee my fights that time before. So
Wow.
that was the second time. So
That is weird.
That was nice as well. Yeah.
And just curious, you think if you would have signed a contract before this fight that you would have knocked him out, or do you think the fact that you didn't get the contract gave you a little extra motivation to be more aggressive?
No. Was the same. The fight was about to be the same. I think I really could really fight what I needed to do to get the victory, which was my focus. Of course, like I said, all the situation was happening, and it was in my mind in a few moments and stuff like that. But my main focus is to win, like is always.
So what do you think happens now? Do you think you're going to stick around in the UFC?
For sure, that's my goal. That's my dream. To be a UFC world champ. And I think that now I prove one my time my value. And I think UFC just they will see that for sure.
But do you think they're going to offer you a deal?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
No doubt about it.
Okay, you're confident.
Yeah.
So you're not worried.
But there's no reason. There's no reason for they don't. They just signed me back. They gave me good fights. Always fights that I could grow. Like guys ranked higher than me, like Tim Elliott was a good fight. And then Dvorak, he was under me in the card, but he was a huge winning streak. I don't know how many years that guy was undefeated. And he was a guy who was kind of hyped, even he was below me in the rankings, but it was a good fight, a fight for me to grow. And again, Matt Schnell, he was below me in the rankings, but he was a top 10. He's a guy knew it in all USA for the MMA fans. So UFC have been treating me good. They have been giving me the opportunity to grow, and there's no reason for them to not give me a deal right now, especially because I'm pretty confident that I made a really good job until there.
Why do you think, Matheus, when we talk about the names at 125, why does it seem like we don't talk enough about you? And I'll put myself in that category too. Do you feel like you don't get the attention that you deserve? Because, we talk obviously about Moreno, Figueiredo, Kai Kara-France, even Oscar Askarov, all these guys, but I feel like you don't get the attention that you deserve. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that, but it's all good. I think I'm making my way, and now things are happening. And I really believe, I think that believing in God is kind of accepting things the way they're happening. I think I'm better prepared. Like, my English is better now to talk with you, to be understanding. And I was about to talk to you the same. Was the knockout that was missing for you to talk with me?
Maybe it was.
I don't know. Maybe, but
in fact, by the way, when I tagged you on my post today for the show, I saw that in March of 2021, you sent me a message, a DM. I didn't see it. I didn't see it. I'm showing it here.
Problem.
I'm showing it. So I'm saying myself, I'm at fault too. We're showing it on the screen, and your manager, who I love dearly, Eduardo Alonso, also your coach, he has been talking to me about you for a long time. So I will put myself in that category. You can blame me also. And also, Matheus, I saw you don't seem happy with MMA fighting. You think MMA fighting not covering you as well, right? That's the site that we are working for here, and we're showing that too. So I'm putting everything out there. Why do you feel like people like myself, like MMA fighting, aren't talking about you enough? Why do you feel this way?
I really don't know, man, because I really feel that I'm a respectful guy that deserves the attention. I really believe that my fights, they are exciting. I fight everybody they offer me. I always make good fight. Sometimes people want to see more of a bang, but man, I'm not like that. I try to fight strategically, and honestly, I really believe that I do fight beautifully if you do pay attention, in the fight. But I get the people that are in arena, they like the blood fights sometimes, but if they have patience, they will get it. Just like in that fight, they was booing 1 second before I knocked him out. And like, how many knockdowns was in 6 minutes of fight? In 6 minutes was like 4 knockdowns. How can you boo that? That was not exciting enough for you. Like, I mean, for everybody.
Yeah.
So I think when the people really start realizing you and paying attention on you, they will understand better your way of fighting. They will respect you more. They can understand more of your way, and it will be like a natural thing. They will like more of your way of fighting. And I see.
Oh,
sorry, 1 second. Someone was calling me.
No problem. I got you. You're back.
Yeah. And I think that's it. People will pay attention on you, and they will start to like more because they will really understand what's going on. So I think it's something natural. Now people, they will have to pay attention because I'm getting. It was exactly what I said to you in the Messenger 2021. I'm getting little by little, but I will get there. I know that.
Even no respect on the video game. Not even on the video game.
Yes, man. I'm running out of excuses with my grandson, man. My godson. Because my godson, he's always asking, hey, when can I play with you? And a lot of my friends who play, I love to play video games. And to be honest, I didn't play UFC 4 until now because I'm mad at them.
Oh my God.
Because there's a lot of guys that already be there on the game and I'm not on the game, so why not?
So you're refusing to play until they put you in the game?
Yeah, I only play when they put me in the game.
Okay, I'm going to call DC and tell them to tell EA to put you in the game. That's crazy.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yes, for sure, my friend. By the way, I understand you didn't get in the video game yet, but is it true Matt Schnell, after the fight, came to see you and he gave you a present?
Yeah, Matt Schnell is a really respectful guy. In the waiting, he came to me and said he had a gift for me. At the beginning, I was like, man, is that a strategy or he just bring a gift for me? What it is? What is his game plan with this? But then I didn't took the gift that moment because he didn't have. He said that he had the hotel. And then he said that he was a sports card collector and he had one of my cards.
Wow.
And then after the fight, I came to him and said, hey, you still going to give me my gift? And he said, of course, man. So that moment, I realized that he was being honest, I guess. It was not a strategy to make me being soft or something like that. But I was so focused before the fight, man. I was not given a chance of nothing to change my mind over there or take my focus out. So I was really focused on the fight. Of course, that made me think, in the moment, is that a strategy or not? But anyway, after the fight, he gave me the sports card. He was, man, that guy was really respectful. He's a really warrior, really martial artist.
Wow.
And the way he came to me with his, cool head and really respectful. And we changed shirts. Was the first time I did it after a fight. I give my shirt. He gave me his. And man, I have even more respect for him now with all of his attitude. He's a really, really honorable man.
I like that. That's kind of like in soccer when they change the jerseys, because he called you out in July, and your tweet I think when he called you out was maybe a little more contentious. What is the tweet? I think we have it here. Your dreams can become your worst nightmare. So, but now you guys are cool.
Yes. No, I was always cool with him. I just think that he challenged me.
Yeah.
I was not mad. I just, man, I was that day. One of my greatest friends, he was getting married, and I was his best man. I was in his wedding, and then people were sending me message. Hey, Matt Schnell just challenged you. Shout out to Hugo, my big friend. He was one of my best friends. I gave him his black belt. He started training jiu-jitsu with me. And I was in his wedding, man. I was kind of pissed that moment. Hey, how someone just calling me out right now, man? I was drinking whiskey in the wedding. And then, but he was respectful. The way he called me was respectful. He just wanted the fight. And then I just posted, man, hey, be careful what you wish, and that's it, man. I will give my best. You want to challenge me? Okay, I take it. But I will give my best to win and to cut his head off, and just happened.
Another guy who was very successful on the card was Rafael dos Anjos, who we just had on the show before you. And I understand he was a big idol of yours when you were coming up, and that it was a huge deal for you to be on the same card as him. Is that true?
Yeah, it's credible, man, because he trained in the gym that I start training jiu-jitsu, which is Caveirinha. I start training with Rodrigo Freitas in Caveirinha Jiu-Jitsu in Belo Horizonte, and Rafael is one of the guys who train in MMA when they have MMA team, which in the time they still call it Vale Tudo team. But then everybody was growing up. Rafael went to Europe, and then he go to Rio de Janeiro to keep training. Igor Araújo, that was another UFC fighter that came from Caveirinha, as another Caveirinha black belt. He fought for the UFC as well. He went to Switzerland for teaching and living. And they was my idol. There was the guy that came from the same place that I came, that made it, he made all the way to the UFC. They followed the dream. They traveled. They changed their life with the MMA. And then he was one of my closest idols because he was kind of the same way that I was. And fighting the same card, one fight before him, after I remember to watch his UFC debut.
Wow.
He lost his two first fights, but it was incredible fights. And then he just became a champion later. And he was one of the guys that I have as a mirror for me when I was kicked out for the UFC because of that as well. I say, hey, Rafael started his UFC career with 2 defeats, and then he became a champion. I was 3-1. I will get back. I know I can do it, and I will be a champion again. So for a lot of reasons, he was one of my idols, and fighting before him was a really honor for me. That night was perfect.
Did you say any of this to him? Did you get a chance to say any of this to him?
I said after the fight, and another curiosity, because after years and years, we didn't train together at the same gym at the same time in Caveirinha. I did some of his seminars. He was around for some time, but he was not training, living there in Belo Horizonte no more. But then after years, he's now training in Nova União in Rio de Janeiro. So we are training in the same gym. So how in around and it wasn't the same way. And after the fight, I took the chance to tell him this, and it was really nice for me.
Amazing. That is incredible.
Exactly.
Yes, yeah. The stars are aligning for you. The stars are aligning. Yeah. You mentioned earlier that you grew up loving soccer, and then you found jiu-jitsu. I also understand that when you were young, I think you were around 13. Unfortunately, you lost your father, and I'm wondering how that affected your plans. Like, did that horrible turn of events have anything to do with you choosing jiu-jitsu as opposed to soccer?
Yes, of course it is, because a little before my father died, I was back in jiu-jitsu. I started training jiu-jitsu when I was 9 years old. Then I stopped because I really wanted to be a soccer player and I have to study and everything. But then I was 13, I got back in jiu-jitsu. First with the idea I need to get my body better, get stronger, get better my equilibrium for do better in soccer. But I was kind of tired already with soccer, I was just not really being honest with myself. And then I started training jiu-jitsu, and I was really, really excited about it. And I remember my father came to me one day and said, hey, what do you want to do? Want to be a fighter or want to be a soccer player? You got to decide it. And I was kind of, I was afraid to let him down. And I didn't say nothing about, no, I want to be a fighter because I didn't really know too. But then a few months later, he passed away. And the only thing that I did that day was going to jiu-jitsu. And I remember years later, that friend that I'm in his house right now, Rodrigo Freitas, he's living in LA right now. He has a gym here in Manhattan Beach. Years later, he came to me and said, hey, man, that day when you came to the gym after your father died, I said, that boy is going to be a champion because he really likes that. And it was something really natural for me. I was doing that because it was helping me, it was something that I loved. And I think jiu-jitsu was one of the best things for me back in the day because I just fell in love for the martial arts. I think having Rodrigo, loving what he's doing, he was a brown belt back in the day. And then he just got his black belt months later. So I was with him traveling for competition in jiu-jitsu. He always putting me up. And jiu-jitsu really saved my life back in the day. I think it was... one of the best things was to have jiu-jitsu with me when my father died, and then I just pursued my dream. When he died, I kind of talked to myself, no, man, I'm going to follow my heart. That's what I want to do. And I didn't talk that to nobody. I just thinking about myself and just went to jiu-jitsu. I remember other day, months later, I came to one of my friends and say, hey, I will start playing soccer because I want to focus on jiu-jitsu. And hey, man, you crazy. I was so teeny, so small, He was, man, look your size, man. How are you going to be a fighter? You're crazy. You play good. You play soccer good. I said, hey, man, I think I want this. And my brother, Eduardo, is the guy who bring me to jiu-jitsu for the first time. He used to fight jiu-jitsu. And he always motivated me anything I wanted to do. If I said that I want to be a whatever, he said, man, you want to do it, you can do it. And and he always bring me to soccer plays. He was always with me. He was one of my first motivator, he and my father. And when I said to him that I wanted to be a Vale Tudo fighter, because I was training jiu-jitsu, but I started jiu-jitsu by watching Vale Tudo tapes by Rickson Gracie and everybody. He said, man, if you want to do it, you got to do it. You can do it. You just have to go to Rio de Janeiro when you are older. And I say, really, I have to go to Rio de Janeiro? Why? Because I think there in Brazil, people are living this for a long time. And just happened, I went to Rio years later too.
Wow.
So that was, I think, having jiu-jitsu and the way that my father died that year was something that made me make a decision, and just follow my heart. It was simple, was nothing hard for me. It was just natural.
And then obviously when the UFC was deciding to get rid of the flyweight division and they said goodbye to you after the Ortiz fight, did you consider, this is horrible, no flyweight division, at least for a moment, how am I going to get back? There's no other organizations that really have flyweights. I know you fought at bantamweight, but did you consider changing careers or were you determined to somehow get back?
I considered changing weight classes.
Okay.
That's all.
That was it.
I just changed weight class. I made 2 fights in 135. Even that I think that I still have some energy to spend in 125. But I said, man, if UFC doesn't have that division, UFC is the biggest organization in the world. Then other organizations just follow her UFC steps. So if UFC doesn't have this division, I think this division will be kind of die. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to change division. I'm going to do a work for getting weight and fight 135. And then I made 2 fights. I fought a very tough guy in Brave in a short notice. In my hometown was another great opportunity to fight in my hometown after years and years. Felipe Efraim, he's a good guy. I'm a KO artist. And I did good. And then some months ago, and UFC made an offer again. I think it was good that Cejudo beat TJ. Everything happened the way it was. So, and I think that the Matheus Johnson success in one made it good somehow made it good for the flyweight, even UFC too, So they just kept the division. And now I think the flyweight in the best time ever in the history, I guess, with best fighters and more exciting fights. And I think like the media, the fans, they are giving more respect, more attention for the division. And also the UFC, I think the UFC by itself is seeing the division with different eyes.
100%. You guys used to be buried. Now you're getting main card. Now you're on the MMA hour, and everyone's going to be talking about you. So everything has changed.
Talk with Ariel and MMA hour. And you see, like, the way they put our fights in that card in Orlando was a kind of a card, have come on, man, Ben Duivasa, he was doing main events like month backs, and a lot of great fights, man. I see Clay Guida fight with Rafael also, it was
crazy.
My other Clay Guida, Michael Johnson, a lot of great guys fighting under me, and I say, man, they're giving some respect for that division, for sure. We can't deny that.
So you're confident you'll re-sign. When do you want to fight again? And who makes sense now? Because I feel like you're very close. Who makes sense?
I think the guy make more sense about everything. My history in the division is the guy. I will be really honest. I think Pantoja is the next in line. He gotta take the champion, and I gotta take whoever gets defeated.
Okay. Whoever loses, you mean, like between Moreno and Figueiredo?
Yes. Being honest with Pantoja, I think he deserves more.
Yeah.
Right now, I think he's the line. And then you can give me the contender fight.
And who do you think wins that fight, Moreno or Figueiredo?
I'm not sure about it. It will be a close fight. I think both they're really good, and they have ways of winning the fight. But I believe that Davidson have a slight advantage.
Okay. Wow. And would you have an issue?
Got closer to finish the fight.
Right. Do you have an issue fighting a fellow Brazilian?
No, I just rather to like Pantoja is a guy who I trained with.
Yeah.
He came to my home already. We ate together, and we trained good for years. He's a guy that I rather to fight if it was for the belt. Like if we are both in the highest level of our career, I want to have the chance to succeed the same way I want my friends have the chance to succeed. So if we are both on the top, okay, man, we fight to make money, we give our best, that's okay. I don't see a reason to fight before that.
Right.
If you have a lot of opponents that can put us in the same position. That's my idea. But if it is for the belt, to be a huge honor.
And by the way, congratulations, Luana Pinheiro. Is she girlfriend, fiance? What is she? Wife, training partner, student?
She's my girlfriend who lives together, kind of fiance. She's my prime partner.
Okay. And you're her coach, right? You have single-handedly changed her from just a judo player to now a very successful MMA fighter.
I cannot take all the credits. This was not being fair. She has a lot of great coaches as well. But I made a good part of that, I believe, because since the day we just met, was always talking about fighting. And I started MMA really soon. My MMA debut, I was 17 years old. So when she was moving to Belo Horizonte, she's from Paraíba, far away from Belo Horizonte, the city that I grew up. She moved to Belo Horizonte to fight for a big team there, judo. When she was moving to Belo Horizonte to fight in judo and spend the next 10 years almost fighting only judo in the highest level, I was moving to Rio to live and fight in MMA, and so I have more time of MMA than her. So I think it was naturally I was kind of teaching her more, showing her some stuff. But now we are in a position that I'm her coach and she is my coach. She was one of the main voices that I was listening in my fight. We have a good connection. We talk a lot. We live that 100%. So now I can say she's my coach as well.
At home, I would imagine 99% of your conversations involve MMA, right? It has to do about MMA, right?
Yeah. Mostly, we try to have an equilibrium on that, but mostly it's about MMA. It's fighting, MMA, boxing, judo, and
right. Well,
everything.
Congratulations again. So lovely to meet you. So great to have you on the show for the first time. Again, I'm sorry for not seeing your message and for taking so long. Shirley Eduardo has told me a lot about you. And I said 6 in a row and knockout. That will be the moment. And so, here we are, 6 in a row and a knockout. So I hope you get a great new contract, and I hope you get a big next fight. And 2023, you fight for the belt, right? That's the hope?
Yeah, that's my goal now.
All right. I look forward to it.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for being honest and saying that, I really respect that. And everything happened the right moment, and that was the right moment for us to talk. And that's it. 2023, you are on the top.
I appreciate it. Thank you, my friend. All the best to you. Talk to you soon. There he is, Matheus Nicolau, top contender from Brazil. Another one you can add to the list. And hey, GC, future 2023, a little sprinkle on Nicolau, I would say. That could be an interesting one, right?
Yeah, we're taking a peek at that.
Is that even available yet?
They keep putting them out, but then obviously when the cards happen, they take them down for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, they've taken them down.
Why?
Just because of what happens. Like, I'm sure whatever line you could have gotten Sergey Pavlovich at before this weekend is probably much lower now.
It changes, yeah. So like Ankalaev, could you even get an like once someone gets the title fight, can you even get a future?
No, and that would have been for 2022 anyway.
No, I know, but like, could you? When they announced Ankalaev versus Blachowicz for the belt, could you get a future on Ankalaev champ by the end of 2022 once the fight is announced? Because at that point, no, okay.
No way. Yeah.
When do they take it off?
I mean, the latest I was even seeing the 2022 futures was like March. Yeah, so they're
so after March, they're gone?
Yeah, maybe like April or May. I can't imagine they hang them around. And I mean, I was seeing 2023 by as early as like September.
How far can you go? Can you go to 24?
No, I wish.
Just 1 year? Why? No. Who would you go for 24?
I'd probably grab some Bo Nickel stock.
Yeah. That'd be a fun one.
Maybe some Hamzat, something like that.
That's right.
Mohamed Mohayev.
Oh, another fun one. Yeah. All right. Well, lovely young man. And great to have him on. And I was, I could feel in the back of my mind Rick getting mad at me for bringing it, but I'm putting myself out there. You're not mad about that, are you?
Fuming.
Really?
You can't breathe life into that.
What do you mean? He put it out.
Yeah, you don't have to highlight it.
I'm highlighting my own.
So
indiscretion.
You take the fall on that.
Do you want?
Don't drag us down.
Well, he put it out there as of this morning.
He put it out there.
Yes.
That's
How do you feel about this?
Not happy.
What do you want to say?
Nothing to say.
He had a lot to say earlier.
GC, was he giving you shit?
Oh my gosh.
What did he say?
You made an asset for this? You grabbed this graphic? Are you kidding me? You're making us look bad, dude.
I have to tell you this.
Did he say that?
This
enough
artificial.
is enough.
Wow. This is
I need to talk to Ariel.
Wow.
Can we get a
And then
few
he-
minutes after
And
the
then he was
show?
like, you know what? While I'm angry like this, we might as well get into it. I can't believe you bailed on Bellator 289.
Oh, okay. Now I actually was believing the
Until
story.
then.
Yes, you ruined it.
They pushed it too far. But yes, I didn't like it.
You didn't like it. You didn't like it, even though I put myself on blast first.
You put your message on there and you take the fall. Nothing to do with us.
Well, do you want to address the
this
complaint?
is my point. There's nothing to address.
Wow.
He feels like he's not. I will say this. I don't know.
He said, first of all, he tagged MMA fighting and others. So that's a little bit unfair, right?
But I do think that we don't talk about him enough. I think, and
Those are two different
I'm
things.
saying we, like me included.
This happens a lot.
Yeah, of course.
Fighters are on Instagram. They scroll the Instagram. You didn't highlight me, or you highlighted this.
You get this a lot?
Of course. Well, naturally, right? Like this is how it would go. To give credence to that. No good.
No. Well, I think it was part of the thing, because I will say Eduardo Alonso, who I love, he's like one of the all-time greats, right? You know him, Shogun's guy. Yeah. He would ask me to have him on after every one of the wins. I was like, I just don't feel, I have to be selective. I can't.
Sounds like you've got some guilt to deal with, not me.
I put it out. I put my guilt out.
Not me.
But he
That's
was
all
being
on you.
he was being very he was being very persistent. I was like, all right, fine now. And then I saw the messages and I was like, well, it feeds into the narrative of him not getting the love, him not getting, and I think there is something to that from all of us. Like when I think of the top guys at 125, we weren't talking about him.
His larger point is correct. Like he's been overlooked, but I do think this was the performance
100%.
That will make him not overlooked. I don't think that before this, people had to pay attention, and now they do. So nothing but respecting
knockout,
to him.
Finish, even the contract stuff. Yeah, the card. Yeah.
This is his time, clearly. And
not on an Apex card. There was a lot of attention on this.
No,
I'm serious. Like the crowd pops, like all that helps.
Yeah. No, it does. And it was he was a decent sized favorite, but as we've seen with Matt Schnell, if he's an underdog, a favorite doesn't really matter. He's a game opponent who's tough out for every single fighter he faces. That was a very impressive dismantling of Matt Schnell. So yeah, the rise is gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah, I think him and RDA were the two biggest favorites on the card. Something like that. No?
No. Casey, I think, was maybe a bigger favorite.
Nah, I think it was Nicolau and RDA.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Casey was like
go.
minus 305, minus 320.
Well, I'm sorry. I hope you're not upset.
Fuming.
And by the way, what do you guys think of my flannel hoodie?
I dig it.
It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, it's all right.
Wow, okay. Seems like Rick likes it
Best
more.
hoodie ever.
Josh Ariza, who redesigned the MMA Hour logo, the one that you see here. Great designer. No.
Oh boy, we're getting further.
Yeah,
there you go.
You see it. You see it everywhere.
Yeah.
We met him when we came back and redesigned. Also has a clothing brand, and he's like, I know you like flannel shirts. You like a good plaid. And he sent me this, and when I got it, I was like, wait a second, is there a hood attached to this? This is kind of my dream.
No, that's great. How like warm is it?
Oh, it's tremendous.
Normal
Perfect.
flannel, or is it more warm?
No, I'd say actually less. It's all like
less than a
hardcore.
normal
It's not Outer Known level. Outer Known is Kelly Slater's brand, which I like as well. You guys, of course, you're familiar with that. But it's cozy as hell. And then you get the hood. I mean, I
More
feel like
colors,
this.
or is this the only one?
I think he sent me 2.
Oh, nice.
Have we opened the door now for
CHOMP?
Not just plaid button-ups? Like, is this between the Canada jersey now this? Like, have we opened Pandora's box to the possibilities here?
No. As you know, I mean, how many episodes do you think we've done of this show now, including ESPN? Would you say we're well into the thousands, right?
We're in the thousands for sure. Yeah.
Because, we're not like Rogan. We're not doing a daily show. So it was for a very long time just a Monday show weekly. Now, is bi-weekly the right thing to say? I think bi-weekly is twice.
Yes. It can be either. It can be twice a week, or it can be every other week. That is both.
Okay, so we're bi-weekly. Still, I think we're in the thousands. I think,
it's a handful.
There used to be a few times where I'd have like the shirt, but it's mostly been, it's always been, actually, no. There was a period in the AOL days, by the way, which predates even you, New York Rick, where I did a few Monday, Thursday shows. And there's actually some footage out there. I remember one, Phil Baroni was in studio where I used to wear Nomas t-shirts. Remember Nomas?
Oh, yeah. Legendary brand.
But then I was like, okay, enough of this. No more t-shirts. And it was always buttoned down. The 2 times I wore a hoodie in the return was Thug Nose and the Canada one. You guys, I wasn't planning on wearing the Canada one. You guys said you should wear it, wore it, of course. We all remember what happened with the jersey and everything. Yeah. But now I feel like I think I'm always going to wear something with plaid. But now I feel like we've revolutionized the game with the hood. Like this, like look at, and by the way, what a big hood. I mean,
you can fit the headphones in there. You can, yeah.
Frank, have you ever seen something like this? This is an all-encompassing hood. It kind of feels like, honestly, I feel like I could go to sleep. It feels like one of those,
it's a lot of hood, to be honest.
Yeah, the headphones.
Yeah.
And I can't even tell you're wearing headphones right now.
This is something that I could go to. This is so comfortable, I could go to bed. By the way,
cloak.
Sith Lord, yeah.
I feel like I should also note, I'm not being paid to talk about this. He just sent it to me because we've become friends. Yeah, it is a sick logo. But look at this. Have you ever seen a hood that covers your whole head like this?
On a cloak.
Yeah.
The nighttime is the right
even
time.
Like this.
Sort of thing. Yeah.
Even I could be cool and do it like half, have you ever seen anything like this?
Let's see the back.
A button-down shirt with a hood.
What's the brand name again?
Chomp. Never seen anything like it.
Looking it up. I'm trying to find it.
When I saw it today in my closet, I was like, wow, I forgot I had this. And I have to say, I've never felt better.
And it is flannel.
Yes, look.
Does it feel like flannel?
Yes.
Like we're warm?
Yes.
Even with the buttons?
It's fantastic.
Were it pockets?
Yeah.
Oh, not like a kangaroo pocket.
Oh,
Kangaroo.
down here. No.
hoodie pocket.
It's fully buttoned down. I mean, this is
zip-up hoodies have pockets too.
yeah, but they're like half, right? You can't go through. Yeah, that would be weird. I feel like that would make it too casual.
Okay.
Is
this is a little bit casual? Yeah.
Could I not wear this at like if I did an interview? No, too casual for an interview. Good for a show like this.
This is up to you. Listen. You're navigating the waters here now. You're pushing the boundaries of what's possible in men's fashion.
You're already on the Chomp Instagram page.
Are you wearing more?
They've already cut something.
Oh yeah.
Wow. See?
Yeah, and the exact flannel hoodie looks great.
As
nice.
seen on MMA Hour.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I didn't know they were cutting clips. Could we get a clip? Spencer, get on it. All right. We need to... am I the only one who thinks it's weird going from the Krause thing to the picks talk, or is it just me?
It's been enough time at this point, I guess.
Okay. All right. Anything else break regarding this story?
Nope.
No.
Because
after we finish today's show, am I allowed to tweet out a link to the discussion, the 1 hour discussion on this, and talk and like sort of give myself the old pat on the back, the old Barry H about how we're covering this and no one else is covering it?
I haven't seen
better
anyone else talking about this.
No? You haven't heard that?
The MMA media is neglecting this story.
You think so? I actually agree. I didn't want to say it, but I think a lot of people aren't covering it enough.
We're better than this.
You think so? All right. I was curious why people weren't talking about it enough. And I was wondering why the people who were talking about it were so proud of the fact that they were talking about it. As you guys know, UFC 282 is this weekend. DraftKings Sportsbook, place to be. If you're a fan, if you're a fighter, a coach, a manager, a friend, a mom, a sister, a brother, not the place to be. They are the official sports betting partner of the UFC. This Saturday, new customers can bet just $5 pre-fight money line on any fighter to win and get $150 in free bets if they do. Now, GC, pre-fight money line, does that mean no in-game stuff?
Yeah, like you can't live bet it. Just for this promo, though.
Yeah. Check this out, GC. Right now, everyone can earn up to 50% boost when you place a same-game parlay on UFC 282. How about that? Any picks in yet?
Yeah, I got some bets in.
What do you got? Oh, you don't want to give it away?
I mean, I can.
Well, I don't know. Give me one. In red.
I'm rocking with Uncle Live.
You are? Well, you have to be. You got the future on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a little upset.
Oh, Jared Gordon?
Country boys can't survive. Who knows?
Wow. Wait a second. Matt Hughes is back? Who's he talking about, Rick? Country boy. That's Matt Hughes' song.
Maybe Bryce.
Oh, does he come out to that too?
Oh, but he's a country boy.
Wow. That was an amazing. Do you understand what just happened there near Rick?
Yeah, you really went to the song real quickly.
You just referenced one of the most famous walkouts, and I have a feeling you don't know that that's his walkout.
I have no idea.
Iconic walkout.
I was like, what is going on here? Anyways, you got Dricus du Plessis against Darren Till. You've got Paddy Pimblett returning against Jared Gordon. And, of course, the big one, the highly anticipated vacant light heavyweight title fight between Magomed Ankalaev and Jan Blachowicz. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code The MMA Hour. Bet $5 pre-fight money line on any fighter to win and get $150 in free bets if they do. Again, that's code The MMA Hour this Saturday at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the UFC. Also, we are presented by our good friends over at Whoop. W-H-O-O-P. Yes, Whoop. Ooh, nice little snazzy lower third there. Who came up with that?
I think you did.
Today's episode is brought to you by Whoop, the 24/7 personalized fitness and health coach. Whoop is a sleek, screenless fitness wearable that tracks your sleep and daily activity. By the way, why music for DraftKings but not for Whoop?
Let's talk off air about that.
Creating a detailed breakdown of what is going on with your fitness and health. A lot of pro fighters are using Whoop to track their workouts. I've been using one. GC been using one as well. How's your journey with Whoop going, GC?
I mean, I'm actually loving it, though. lately, especially with these late UFC nights, it reminds me a lot that I'm not getting enough sleep.
So what does it do when it tells you you're not getting enough sleep?
It wakes
Yo,
you up.
you tired? Like, you should probably head to bed. That's what it said to me. Like,
serious?
Yeah, as we're on like the first fight
on the
of the main
prelims
card. Yeah, I was like, ain't happening. Whoop, sorry, but it is a nice reminder, and it's cool when you're working out. It lets you know how much you're working. I mean, I actually do like it.
It's an amazing thing. You get the app, right? It gives you a whole breakdown. Quite frankly, don't even really understand how they figure all this out, but they do. It gives you extra data on your health, your recovery, and your
it knows
sleep.
like exactly when I go to sleep. I don't have
wild.
to do anything.
How does it know?
I guess it's all by the pulse. There's a sensor like on your pulse.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, you can try Whoop for yourself by going to whoop.com. That's WHOOP.com. Whoop.com. And here's a very important note. Use the code MMA, not MMA hour, just MMA, 3 letters, to save 10% today. You want to feel better? You want to have a better life, a healthier life? Go to whoop.com, put in the code MMA, save 10%. Tell them we sent you, support them because they support us. All right. How'd we do this weekend? Apologies. We know how we did. The trio that is the Parlay Pals.
I mean, easy dub. Easy dub.
How did you do? Did you get back on track?
Well, actually, I got off track. I had 4 straight winning weeks. I was hot. Yeah, we went right off track. Let's dive right in. Let's get through it. Went with 10 singles. Not a great start to the night. I mean, look at that. I start with Rainer Ritter. You want to talk about one-way traffic? You want to talk about one-way traffic?
Holy smokes.
I mean, he got dominated in that fight. It was like, took 30 seconds after like 3 failed takedowns. I was like, this ain't happening.
Yeah.
We do bounce back. We get 2 singles, but still not good on the singles for the night. Do okay on the parlays. 3-1 on the parlays. Obviously, the MMA hour parlay hitting. And that gets us to the final. I lost almost 5 units, 4.5. One of our worst weeks, but bound to happen. Can't stay hot forever. You knew it was going to come. It did feel like one of those deserts for a while, though. I mean, I started 0-5 on singles. It was not looking good, but we finished okay. Minus 4.47, up 60 on the year still, up 72 all time. So yeah, I still feel pretty decent. Well, shout out to DraftKings, Anderson Bren. This is actually the second time that he has won it. And then, I mean, I might have lost, dude, but these big hitters never cease to amaze me. Let's give some shout outs to some people.
What do we got? Oh, yeah. By the way, you had to have a down week after the big donation, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Oh, I said you had to have a down week after the big donation.
Exactly, yeah. And I can't lie, I'm pretty superstitious. I was gonna let the mustache keep going if I just kept winning. So I'm glad to be able to grow the beard.
What's the plan now?
Oh, beard's coming back.
You're not going to trim the mustache?
Nope. We'll let the beard catch up to it.
It looks so fitting.
How long do you think that'll take?
A couple weeks. By the award show, I'll be looking like Brad Pitt again.
When's that?
That'd be January
4th.
Not the first Monday of the year, the first Wednesday.
Yes, because the first Monday is a holiday.
Yep. And
even though it's January 2nd.
All right,
go ahead.
Anton the GOAT. Quick plus 73,494 9-leg parlay. I mean, he pretty much called every fight right. Threw some dogs in there. Had Roman Dolidze, had Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, had Eric Anders. I mean, had Angela Hill, had Clay Guida. That's going to give him a huge parlay. $2 into almost 1,500. I mean, shout out to Anton. Unbelievable call here. Fantastic stuff. Next up, cheese staked. Another small stake one, but still just a huge win. Plus 44,478. He also had a lot of dogs. Michael Johnson, Clay Guida, Angela Hill, Phil Rowe, Anders, Dolidze. That's almost all dogs.
Wow.
Then he threw a Jonathan Pierce almost minus 600 in, because why not? Just alley-oop that in. Next up, the Dan man, Seraldo Babalu. Hell of a name. Plus 16,000 on just 2 picks. Rafael dos Anjos in round 2. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson in round 4. Plus 600 on the RDA. Plus 2,200 on the Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Parlayed him up. Turned 75 cents into 120. I mean, just
damn.
some of these calls these people make are just unreal. Like they got time machines. I don't know what it is. Beezy dripping. Shout out to Bees. He goes. He goes 5 legs. Hermanson to lead say under 2.5. Also, the Hermanson finish, like the way that he got finished.
Oh my God!
Like you could not get out of that. I was like, my mind was like warped, like making sense of like how his leg was. I was like, oh, he like literally can't get out of this. This fight is over. I've never seen that before.
It's one of the greatest and most unique finishes I've ever seen. Like it was like a calf slicer where he trapped his legs. Hermanson could not get out. I mean, he was like,
no, he was done.
It was crazy, and then just that dude. And then, by the way, calling out Hamzat afterwards.
Dude, he is scary. He is violent.
Yeah,
I mean, he is a madman. He is on everybody's radar now. He hits under 2.5 in the Schnell Nicolau fight. Shout out to that flyweight unders. They never miss. Stephen Thompson as an underdog. Clay Guida as an underdog. And Michael Johnson as an underdog. Plus $10,005 into 510. Beautiful play. Next up, the Rocket plays. He goes Phil Rowe by KO. Roman Dolidze by KO. RDA by submission. Plus $10,050 to win. $5,056.
Damn.
Whew. So RDA would be going last in that. When he locked up the choke, when it looked like he was going to get the triangle in the first round, I think it was, and it failed, and then he got the choke in the second. I mean, you'd see me doing laps around my apartment. I'd be going so crazy. That would be fantastic. This one is not a bet. This one is just insanely impressive by Art Smith. Verdict. Shout out to Verdict MMA. His picks for the entire main card, he goes 6 for 6, and he not only goes 6 for 6, he also gets the method of finish correct on all of them, either submission or knockout. And on 5 of the 6, he also gets the round correct too. He almost got it 100% perfect. He said Dolidze in the third instead of the second. I mean, shout out to Art Smith. Unbelievable. And last, Anthony Choppio. He was really looking for this shout out. The ticket is worth it. He does do some unit shaming, Don't love that on some other submissions, but still, fantastic ticket from him. Plus 11,241. Turns $45 into over $5,000. Like I said, if I ever hit one of these, I'd be going crazy. I don't even bet him because I know I'm not going to hit him. But shout out to him. Shout out to all of them. Unbelievable winners from them. I didn't have a great week, but they certainly did.
Yes. And a couple other shout outs if we can. Shout out to Scott Holtzman, who retired. It's kind of bummed, they stack these cards and no one gets to go on the mic. I mean, I know a lot of them went the distance.
They did Guida dirty.
Man, a lot of those dudes, like they had some good performances and you could tell he was taking off the gloves and they even cut off that. Like they had to keep.
Guida was doing like a shout out for like hurricane relief in his hometown and they like, Dan, it was like Angela Hill. They cut him off. Did him pretty dirty.
And it's not because I get it. They're not trying to be dicks, but they had what was it, 15 or was it 14 once 14. Cortez and they pack it in and it's on TV and you got to get the commercials in. And also, they did do a great thing highlighting a lot of the, the cancer stories and the V Foundation and the Stuart Scott night. So there was just a lot of elements on that show. And
Cormier's tribute to Rumble.
Having Elias Theodoro's parents there was a really nice thing. So, but you feel bad for a guy like Holtzman who's retiring, who I think is actually expecting his second child today. Amazingly, not getting any type of mic time.
He did see the media after. That was that was where you would hear from him. But so obviously would have been nice to have him have that moment in the octagon for sure.
Shout out to Nathan Diaz, who got the key to the city on Saturday at the Stockton Kings game, G League affiliate. Big moment for him. The mayor handing him the key to the city. I thought that was very nice. Nice little, whoops, sorry about that, Frank. Nice little moment. Phil Rowe had a great moment as well. There were a lot of great moments on Saturday, right? Yeah. On the microphone, talking about his mother. Just a good card. I mean, it went till 1:30 a.m.
It did go incredibly late. I actually, speaking of Stockton, I got a call from a random number in Stockton a few days ago, and I did, for 1 second.
209?
209.
Did you pick it up?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, it was actually Movember.
Oh, wow.
Being like, thanks for all the hard work.
You're kidding. They personally called you?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, I'm serious. I'm dead serious.
What?
Yeah.
And they're based in Stockton?
Yeah.
Wow. That's weird.
Do Diaz X Movember crossover.
I thought maybe awesome. It was Diaz. I'm not going to lie.
And hey, fully admit that I'm a little biased here, but shout out to Israel's Natan Levy, not only for the performance, but the stuff that he said afterwards. I mean, the venom, the vitriol that you receive is pretty disgusting. I don't want to give any of that, too much shine, but I can't even imagine what his DMs are like. And we posted the clip. Shout out to Jose Youngs for asking him about the Kanye West stuff. Just a weird world that we're living in. And weird even to the point where I feel, if I'm being honest, not trying to make myself into some sort of like, martyr here or something, or victim, but like, I bet you if I had him on the show, like all you would see in the YouTube chat were just like people who have no idea what they're talking about, what they're supposedly, mad at or whatever. But, shout out to Natan Levy, who is doing great things and had I thought his best performance in the UFC so far.
He looked great.
Yeah, the kicks were amazing. Sweet chin music.
Yeah, I thought he was going to get the finish in the first round.
Yeah, so did I. And do you guys think that we covered everything with the Kraus story? Do you feel like we got to everything?
Nothing that I want to get to. Yeah, I mean, I feel like
I think that was as thorough as it gets. No.
Yeah, no. I just didn't know.
And now we wait
for the next.
That's the crazy drop. Yeah. Now we wait.
Yeah, it's a crazy story. Well, by the way, can I ask you a question, New York Rick? While we're breaking, why is Michael Bisping so mad?
Oh God, we're not getting. We're not doing this. What is this?
I don't know.
We're not doing.
Okay, what? We're not talking. Why is he so mad? I actually think he's very much in the wrong.
Of course, he's in the wrong.
DC does this too. He says something on the broadcast. He's like, but like, first of all, guys, you're on air for 8 hours. So yes, does a line get taken out? But you said what you said.
Related to nothing. Related to not any question you asked me. Clickbait
is the most misused term
is not
in the
used
history
correctly by anybody.
Yes.
Stop using it.
Oh, it's the most. That's actually, I've talked about this on the show. It's one of my big pet peeves. Clickbait is, the true definition of clickbait is, you'll never guess what Kim Kardashian wore today. Like, that's clickbait, right? Or you'll never guess who.
Clickbait is enticing somebody to click on something, and then bait and switching. Once you get to it, it is not actually what you have been promised or what's implied to happen, and then you're disappointed and you leave and you got tricked.
Yeah, it's the ads on Twitter as you're scrolling.
Yes.
Like, these 18 photos, they had no idea until they looked back.
Right.
Because all they care about is once you click, right? That's it. If you're in, they don't care if you're happy, disappointed, whatever. Thus, clickbait, right? They're baiting you to click the article you've clicked, and now they've got you and they don't really care. All they wanted was the click. Being quoted and then not standing behind your quote is not clickbait.
No.
But this is independent of any conversation we're having, and I just wanted to point that out.
Sure, fine. By the way, do you remember that Twitter account saved you a click? That was once a big one.
Yeah, and there was that one where they would just expose what the articles were. They tell you. A great one from back then was also, let me Google that for you.
I didn't know that one.
People would ask the dumbest questions like, what time? I'm sure you get tweets, right? What time are the fights starting this weekend? Hey, buddy, hop on the Google and figure it out.
There used to be a thing that would create a GIF for you, and it would be a GIF of you Googling the question.
Yeah, that's let me Google that for you.
Yeah, that's let me Google that for you.
Room Raider is a fun one. What was that, Frank?
I had a question when you guys are done with that.
Please. Is it about
back to the whole betting thing that's going on?
Oh yeah, please.
I was just wondering, with the power of hindsight, do you guys have any idea what caused that October 17th movement from UFC? Like, why they decided to...
You mean statement?
Statement. But also, that was when they told people, fighters couldn't bet anymore, that sort of thing. So no idea. It's all up
right now, I don't know what the catalyst was, because I think some people, maybe in retrospect think that statement came after the Derek Minner fight. No, that statement came before the Minner fight. However, as we noted, the podcast, the Discord, and perhaps other things going on, TBD, may have alerted other people, third-party people, who knows, to put that out. And by the way, as I noted on Twitter, I believe that, again, not that statement is related to the Minner fight, but I believe that statement a precursor to them perhaps knowing that things were happening, and I believe that the statement regarding James Krause on Friday somewhat of a precursor to other things coming down, right?
Interesting.
And I think that the Krause thing is very much like, look, we are cutting this guy off. He is no longer affiliate. And by the way, Krause was a very liked guy within the UFC headquarters, right? Even to, did he? No, I don't think he ever worked as an analyst, but I remember them using him for one of those like video breakdown things. I've seen Saif Saud do it. And then, as I said, he was on the ESPN show as well for a little bit. So it's not like he's a guy that they wanted to get rid of.
Yeah, but essentially it would be speculation to say at the moment why that statement was made.
No, don't know.
But if you read the tea leaves, the timing is conspicuous, right? Like there's something that happened that caused that.
I'm just wondering, like, how big does this story get?
I think it will be the biggest story.
This could go down, what do you mean, like the biggest story ever?
In MMA? Yeah. I mean,
bigger than the TRT stuff.
There are important organizations, government regulated bodies, saying that they don't know that the UFC can control fight fixing. Now, is it every organization? No. But that's significant. That is extremely significant. So yeah, this is going to be huge. And like, I think what's confusing for a lot of people, and myself included, you can kind of get lost in the sauce a little bit. There's the James Krause part of it. There's the James Krause and that specific Darrick Minner fight part of it. There's the larger picture. These things are all intertwined, but they're not the same. It is not all the same story. There are lots of different tentacles to this octopus. Like there is a lot happening here. I think it's very easy for a lot of people to conceptualize and kind of talk about James Krause as the entirety of the story, or simplify it that way. But that is not what's happening here. That is one aspect of a much, 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 much larger thing.
Oh yeah. This will not just be a James Krause story. It may have.
It will start that way, and then it will become something completely different.
And who knows what's already taking place behind the scenes that we don't know yet.
Yep.
I mean,
100%. Good
there's
point.
no telling.
I've actually reached out to James Krause, but no response. And
as expected.
Wasn't expecting one. Yeah. I'm wondering, like, he hasn't tweeted anything in a long time. Who knows?
I would assume that the best course of action is to keep the head down as far as possible.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess if he has any sort of legal team, they're probably advising him to keep quiet.
Yes. Actually, I do know that he hired someone in Las Vegas.
There you go.
Representation. Is representation the right word? No, it's not the right word.
Yeah, legal representation.
Yeah, all right. You do wonder, and I guess we'll find out soon. Marcelo Rojo was allowed, obviously. And by the way, you do wonder when, like, the UFC didn't make this decision on Friday to cut him off. I think that was a timing thing, Friday news dump.
Well,
but you wonder the other fighters who are part of that gym, what do they do now? Where do they go from here?
There's that, but there's also the investigation, right? The reaction from the UFC was pending their investigation. So obviously the timing of that, those two things are intertwined, right? They needed to thoroughly, to their satisfaction, see through this investigation, and at the result of it, this is what they ultimately came up with. It's going to be interesting, yeah. The most notable, the highest profile is going to be Brandon Moreno, right? Like that is going to be the most interesting fallout from this. Is what does Brandon Moreno do? The UFC has made it very clear that there's an ultimatum here. You cannot participate in our events if you are associated with James Krause. So we will see.
Where does he train? Who does he train with? Right, like. Are the other coaches that were a part of that gym?
Or does he make a stand? Does he not choose to train somewhere else? Does he say,
then he's effed.
Operating in solidarity? Who knows?
That would be
insane. Then he's not getting it. Then he's out of the UFC.
I'm not suggesting he do it. I am just throwing out there that this is a potential future.
What, 7 weeks before flyweight championship?
21st January, yeah. Whew. See you guys in Vegas for the awards?
Yeah.
I'll be there.
Appreciate the invite.
Whoa, breaking news.
Oh, I think I said this last week, did I not?
I think you were a little more wishy-washy.
Oh, sorry, yeah. We'll be there. First time since 2017.
Wow.
Are you allowed?
No.
Or is that an old storyline? I don't even remember.
Wait, and by the way, you need to be clear here because people are going to think that I'm not allowed at the awards. You mean in Las Vegas, right?
I was going to say, you're just not allowed in the entire city.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I've been to Las Vegas.
I heard on a
podcast. You were there like a week after that.
I saw on Reddit, you're not allowed in the entire, in the city
entire
limits
jurisdiction.
I think it was old. I shouldn't have.
Speaking of rehashing things, I had to write the mayor of Las Vegas get a special pardon.
Maybe you get to the
I was going to say, any keys to the city coming soon for you?
That'd be nice. What a turn of events that would be. From band to key to the city.
Stockton?
That would be nice. Who knows? A little watch party on Friday for Bellator.
Yep.
Me.
Yeah.
I'm doing. Oh, you're saying yep like you're going to be there. What?
You want to make sure not invited. I got it.
Connor gets messages on these invites from somebody. Who knows who's giving it to him, but somebody's telling him all
where are you doing it
ahead of time.
Still TBD. But it's interesting. Both of you were talking about going. Neither of you going.
That's why you were selling us so hard on the card earlier.
I'm into that fight, but no, come on. 282 is 1,000 times better. But that fight is juicy.
That's not. the fight. Those are not apples to oranges. It's a good card.
Yeah.
UFC pay-per-view versus
right
regular Showtime event. That's not.
I mean, that is I guess the CBS is the one, but
CBS would be.
But there's nothing bigger than a regular Showtime event.
The CBS card.
Yeah, this first time in their history.
I mean,
over 10 years.
They also did an ill-fated pay-per-view. No.
Right. Yes.
They do a pay-per-view.
That was in the Bjorn days. Yeah, and of course, who could forget the CBS Sportsnet era, the Paramount era, the MTV2 era.
Oh, wow.
Do you know Bellator MTV2? Yeah.
Wasn't Anik the...
Who could forget the John Anik era? Did you know this, GC?
John Anik, MTV2 Bellator. I mean, this is like, I need footage of this.
I love blowing his mind here.
John Anik was the first ever play-by-play man for Bellator.
I was just about to say that CBS Sports Network, if I watch like a basketball game or a football game on that, it just feels small.
Oh, yeah.
It feels like what
the
I'm
ticker
watching
and everything
has no consequences.
It's ESPN News, right?
Yeah. MTV2, they can't even get slated onto MTV1.
Let me blow your mind even more. John Anik wasn't part of now it's all coming back to me. He wasn't part of the MTV2 era. John Anik was the play-by-play man for the first season of Bellator, which was on ESPN Deportes. And it was like the lone English programming on ESPN Deportes. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
They put it on ESPN Deportes despite being English programming.
Yes.
So they would have somewhere to have it.
There was an
ESPN Classic wasn't open. ESPN U.
It was weird. By the way, is ESPN News still around? Or did they finally shut it down?
I would hope it's shut down.
I like ESPN News.
Wait, did you say U or News?
News.
No, I think that's still around, no? Did I make that up? Yeah, that's...
No, I think ESPN
I think they're shutting it down.
Yeah. Oh, really? I loved ESPN News.
It was great.
Maybe second hour of Mike and Mike. I forget which one.
No, I'm talking like early days ESPN News when it was really just like the news show. Not when they started to put like simulcasts and stuff on.
Just dump other.
No, that was fun. Stephen A would just pop up on there. Like before he was Stephen A, he was just like an insider.
Yeah, you could watch.
I mean, that's where some of his best stuff came from.
Yeah.
You could watch 8 hours of SportsCenter
and then scrub.
Who was it? The Medvedenko one?
Slava Medvedenko.
Yeah.
Slava Medvedenko.
Yes, that was a classic.
Yeah,
I learned about the Knicks acquiring Latrell Sprewell from Golden State in 1999 while watching ESPN News.
Nice. Yeah.
It was ESPN News and CNN SI. Do you remember that?
We used to get news from our television.
Oh, it was amazing.
Wild, right?
Those were great days. Yeah, I remember one time, 1995, I'm at an Expos game, and we didn't get the Knicks-Pacers Game 5 of the second round of the NBA playoffs that year. Didn't get it on TV in Montreal. So I went to the Expos game, had to wait until I got home, had to wait until CNNSI played the highlights for me to find out if they won. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Not in real time. I had to wait a legit hour or so after the game was over just to find out if they won.
Would you go back right now if you could?
To those days?
Yeah.
To me being a kid or to the days where like we didn't have...
I'm not asking if you want to be youthful again. I'm asking if consuming news in the way that we do has rotted something inside of us.
Yeah.
And maybe those simpler times were better.
What do you think?
Definitely rotted something inside of me.
This is, by the way, before you answer this question, it's a big statement right here from the social media
this
guru.
Is how I make my living. Yes.
Well, you think on that.
No.
I'm like on my like 6th MTV2 Bellator promo.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, they're great.
No,
a great night of fights, says Bloody Elbow.
There you go.
Yeah, great promo.
I think getting news in real time is
It's pretty awesome, but
it's pretty great.
There was something very innocent about waiting for the highlight show to start.
This is like the mindset of like the promotion, UFC wanting to hold on to a promo and not reveal the news, and it's that kind of mentality. Like, I don't care about spoilers. Like, I want the news when the news happens. So I would stay here in 2022 and get news that way.
One thing that I did like was like getting to break news to like your friend. Like if you saw something on SportsCenter and like say you go to the bus and you're like, did you see XYZ got traded? And they're like, oh my God, no. Now it's just like, did you see blah, blah, blah? Yeah, I saw it. I saw it, dude. It's been on Twitter for 10 minutes.
My text skip the did you see? You just start talking about it.
Yeah.
Like you already just like jump to it because you assume everybody saw it.
Oh yeah, everybody's seen it.
You ever get one of those things where everyone's talking about it, but you didn't, so you just quickly search and then you jump in, but don't tell them that you missed it? Do that all the time.
Rare. I don't.
Could you believe Donovan Mitchell?
Yeah.
Donovan, and then go back. Oh, I can't believe that.
I was already crying by that point.
Didn't the Knicks beat?
Yeah, what happened again? The Knicks? Kevin?
Oh yes, celebrate this one.
It's a bit.
You raising a banner.
No banner. I'm just saying. You mentioned when Knicks lost to them.
Worry about the $120 million you're paying RJ Barrett, who's an absolute trash can. Like,
why are you getting so personal?
Rick's getting nervous. He hears footsteps coming from the 4th place Hawks right on his heels.
We just dusted them.
Isn't there like some sort of beef right now between Trae Young and McMillan?
I don't know.
Okay.
He's not even following the season.
He didn't show up to the game.
Yeah.
Like
got Bellator 289 to watch. Thanks. One championship deep into the night.
You enjoy that regular season December win.
I will. They had lost 5 straight at home.
Enjoy it.
I actually will. Well, it's been a great day, my friends. Frank, any final thoughts?
Yeah, earlier you mentioned Bellator pay-per-view that didn't do so hot.
Oh, yeah.
Is there any news about how PFL ended up doing with that pay-per-view?
Frank,
I gotta say, that was a great question.
You're asking,
I've been trying to get it in.
Frank, you're asking legitimate questions
Frank,
here.
Just a little mini on the nose on Mondays. I love it.
No word, but no one feels very confident that it did great. Again, what they were telling me inside the walls was, hey, this is all gravy. We were going to be on ESPN anyway, so whatever we make, we make. But
still
haven't
matters.
heard it.
Yeah.
Now I see. I mean, that's a terrible mentality. Now
I agree.
Where it went wrong.
Because also, who knows how that deal was constructed, right? Maybe they didn't pay them for the last show, and so they had to try to make that back. You know, you get paid X amount for, however, I don't know, 13 events, 12 events. Maybe they say, oh, we're not going to pay you for the last one. Okay, we're going to make that money tenfold via pay-per-view, and then By the way, did you watch Fury Chisora?
I did, yeah.
So bad, right?
I mean, it was fine. I don't need...
It was just a walloping.
I don't need Tyson Fury fights based on him picking dates in the calendar and wanting to fight. Like, I only want to see Tyson Fury fight the fighters we want to see him fight. I only want to see the Usyk fight, you know, like, and even a Joshua fight. Those are what I want. I don't really need these other fights.
Nothing. It felt like nothing. I only tuned in for the Fury fight, and it's
a cool scene.
It was a cool scene, but it was just so one-sided the entire time.
To what he said to you, to what he said to True Jordy and everybody else who's asking about it, when you're selling out stadiums, we all got to shut up.
Yeah,
but pay-per-view, man, pay-per-view.
I get it.
That was on BT Sport box office.
That many ESPN people are packed into an arena to watch you against anybody, literally anybody. I
no, 100%.
You gotta shut up at a certain point and let the man do his thing. But personally, zero interest in that fight. Never like what was.
You think he fights Usyk next?
I hope.
Oh, after that whole big to do with the face off, if they don't do it.
Fury
I feel like you have to.
He will pick when he's going to fight. He will pick a date. He will have his heart set on it. And if Usyk can make that date, he will fight. And if Usyk can't make that date, it will be somebody else, and we'll get another Tyson Fury.
And they also went to Usyk in the crowd like 9 times.
Oh yeah,
fight, pre-fight, as it's about to start, and then like it felt like in between each round, it was like.
Imagine it was like that in the UFC. Like Izzy was like, "I'm fighting on November 12th. If you're ready, you're ready." You know.
Yeah. I mean, there is some of that. We you know, there's some fighters who do that.
Few, but yes.
I mean, we just saw Gilbert Burns. Like, I want to fight in Brazil. Give me anybody on the roster. I will fight them in Brazil, and he got it done, and now he is going to.
Why does it feel like that Brazil card is coming up next week and there's still so many questions regarding it?
Oh, it's like 7 weeks away.
But when you're the best heavyweight in the world and possibly one of the best heavyweights of all time, I don't even think, is that even arguable? Like, he is one of the best heavyweights of all time. I don't need to see this third fight. Like, let's do the Usyk fight. Even Joshua. Like, I know his stock is not super high.
I would much rather, it was uncomfortable to watch. Better chance of happening, Usyk, Fury, RDA, McGregor.
Oh,
Usyk Fury, no doubt.
Yeah. Better chance of happening, RDA, McGregor, or Paddy Pimblett, Jake Paul.
Okay, RDA, McGregor.
Listen.
Paddy Pimblett, Jake Paul, in what arena?
I don't know. I see them all over MMA Fighting Social.
Okay, are you including?
I love how he says even playing field. Did he not?
Are you considering if they do this long discussed and ultimately will never happen, but maybe might happen sparring session fight, or do you mean a actual sanctioned fight?
No, the former.
0%.
Yes,
we'll get our.
I like how Patty said. I will
talk about picking dates. They both did that. They both did that
field.
Tyson Fury thing. They both did. I can fight now. I can fight now. We're never gonna do it. Yay! Like they did literally what we were just talking about.
But didn't he say even playing field? Like, let's see if he fights someone on even playing field. Paddy Pimblett is what is he, like 35 to 40 pound lighter man than him?
Yeah, but that's in Paddy's head. The ego is putting him up there as you know, he's that big in his mind, and good for him.
Yeah. By the way, what about this clip right here before we say goodbye? Here's a clip. Oh, why can I not find this now? Jesus. How did I miss this? Where in the... Oh, here it is. Here's a clip from 2015, GC, all right? You were what? 4th grade?
Yeah.
What is happening right now?
Here's a clip from 2004. Oh, jeez.
Even though you haven't fought in the UFC, that you get the
Paddy Pimblett in studio, 2015, I believe, October.
Said even though you haven't fought in the UFC, that people know you in the gym, they recognize you.
No, Americans don't. To be honest, no, Americans.
You only get love on this show, huh? None of the Americans have jumped on the bandwagon, right? I feel like they're a bit late on this one.
7 years ago. What was that? What was that closing line? You only get love on this show?
Even though you haven't fought in the UFC, that people know you in the gym, they recognize you.
No, Americans don't. To be honest, no, Americans.
You only get love on this show, huh?
I only get love on this show. 7 years.
Simpler times.
7 years. I'm not salty about it. Just like.
Not at all.
7 years. Oh, someone's calling me. That's awkward.
Wait, you know the rules that they call you during the show?
Yeah, this is a 607 number.
Yeah,
Ithaca, New York.
You got to roll the dice.
Should I pick it up? This is 100% spam. Or, actually, I was going to say something, but I don't want to say it. All right, Frank, we're out of time. Great stuff, guys. Seriously. GC, tremendous. New York Rick, tremendous. And Frank for the follow-up questions, tremendous.
That's it. That's the only thing I get.
Yeah, also, tremendous job by my flannel hoodie.
You know, okay, like a boxer robe hoodie.
That's what this is.
Okay.
Dun 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 dun. You know who walks out to that song?
Patty.
Oh, there you go. What about Free From Desire?
Wait, but do you know who wrote that song?
Yeah, you told me last time.
Tiesto.
Tiesta or Tiesto?
Tiesto.
Where are they from?
The Netherlands?
Oh. You mean the same country that beat the U.S.?
That would be the one. Poor timing.
No,
I bet on RDR, the Dutch Knight, lost. I bet against Netherlands, lost. And I bet on Kevin Holland.
Oh, my God.
Shout out to the Netherlands, enemy number 1.
Oh, my God. That is brutal. Do I have lint in my hair again? What's going on over here? Guys, very exciting. I believe we're going to have a big-time boxer in studio on Wednesday. Any guesses? Quickly. Any guesses?
Jake Paul.
No.
Toronto.
Who?
Katie Taylor.
No.
Tyson Fury.
No. All right, well, this sucks. Teofimo Lopez.
Oh,
yeah.
Teofimo.
Yeah, in studio, fighting at the Garden on Saturday. Big fight for him after the Heisman. We'll talk to him and others on Wednesday. Thank you, Zhang Weili. Thank you, Wonderboy Thompson. Thank you, RDA, Rafael dos Anjos. Thank you, Matheus Nicolau. Thanks to all of you. Back on Wednesday, same time and place. Until then, I say...